Hi everyone, please subscribe to my channel. Blood Immortal Venerable. See playlist for other chapters and novels. I do not translate the novels. Credits goes to original translator and author of the novel. I only make it as an audiobook so it would be easier to just listen while doing other things. Credits goes to the author of the novel. I convert stories to audiobook for mental health, for multitasking purpose, for accessibility and time saving. Listening to audiobook is also beneficial for people who have disability. It improves our listening skills and improve our English comprehension, vocabulary and other things. So, thank you for listening. Thank you and thank you very much for your support. RIP. It was as if a piece of paper had been torn apart and stuffed into a small hole as Hades, spirit-eating sword sucked in the world of Kronos' conscious mind between its serrated teeth. Open hollow corner bracket I'll kill you all. As though he had completely lost his sanity, the demonism realized what Yin Wu was attempting to do. His body expanded as he gathered back the opaque darkness that he had gushed out, trying to accelerate the destruction of the world of Kronos' conscious mind. Kronos, black wind lashed more violently to stop the demonism, but nothing he did seemed to slow the demonism down. Rumble. Suddenly, pockets of emptiness started appearing around the demonism, black chains shooting out of them. The chains wrapped around the demonism, overlapping with each other. Even though he was tightly wound up, the demonism's skin burst through the small openings between the overlapping chains. Whenever this happened, more chains wrapped around the gap to seal the demonism. Eventually, the demonism was as tightly bound as though he were in a cocoon. Clatter, clatter. However, the chains couldn't fully contain the demonism, and the cocoon started shaking and cracking as if it would give way at any moment from the demonism's struggles. Whenever the chains were stretched to their limits, they would begin to make ominous, clashing sounds. Throughout all this, Hades' spirit-eating sword continued to devour everything. A considerable amount of holy power has been devoured. The amount has passed the maximum limit. Warning: too much holy power has been devoured. Your current body cannot absorb the holy power you have devoured. It is recommended that you attempt the absorption after a period of preparation. Warning: the opponent you are attempting to devour has too much power. If the difference is too large, Hades' spirit-eating sword will overload. This could cause a collapse of the power you are attempting to devour. Warning: the number of legends that you are attempting to devour is too great. Devouring the legends improperly may result in dangerous ego swapping. It is recommended that you immediately stop the devouring process. Warning: the size of the being you are trying to absorb is too large. Warning: the devouring of. The warning messages came one after another. Although they all relayed different messages, they advised Yin Wu to stop. It was impossible to devour a supreme god, especially one that had almost reached the emperor level. Even Zeus, who had taken over Kronos' throne, had found it too difficult to take away all of Kronos' possessions. In the end, he had shared them with his brothers, Poseidon and Hades. Furthermore, to prevent anyone else from obtaining Kronos' remaining possessions, Zeus had locked them away in Tartarus. And yet, Yin Wu was trying to devour all these possessions. It was a crazy attempt. Additionally, Yin Wu was trying to do this unfathomable act even though he hadn't fully transcended or exuviated. The sheer amount would likely crush Yin Wu's spirit. However, Yin Wu believed in the capacities of Hades' spirit-eating sword. Whenever he was bumped against a limit, the spirit-eating sword always found a way to elevate and develop Yin Wu further. Furthermore, Yin Wu trusted the Philosopher's Stone. Warning: the target you are trying to devour is too large. Warning: the target you are trying to devour is too large. You have gone beyond your limits. You have reached the status, limit exceeded. You have reached the status, unable to devour. You have reached the status, unstable spirit. The factors that have not been devoured are becoming unstable. The teeth of Hades' spirit-eating sword are starting to shake. Exceeding your limit has placed your body into overload. It has been locked down. Cracks are starting to appear throughout parts of your body. The formation of cracks is accelerating. The process of collapse has started. The skill, regeneration, has been initiated. Regeneration is helping the collapsed portions of your body recover. The Sin Stone, Gyula and Superbia, is shaking. Gyula greed is unsatisfied and wishes to continue devouring. It is looking for another way and is greedily baring its teeth. Superbia pride is attempting to contain the unstable divine power. The Philosopher's Stone possessed two qualities that were now fully reinvigorated. Superbia pride would not acknowledge any limits. It sent tremendous vitality to Yin Wu's body to contain the unstable divine power, funneling it to the philosopher's stone and attempting to subjugate it. The divine power fought the suppression, but the more it struggled, the more Superbia tried to crush it. It was the same for Gulak greed. It took control of Hades' spirit-eating sword, which had begun to slow its devouring, and enlarge the sword's teeth. The sword no longer restricted itself to devouring the world of Kronos' conscious mind but greedily sought to devour the entire true body of Kronos. The philosopher's stone had gone into a frenzy. This was why Yianwu had endured overload and continued to absorb all of Kronos' possessions despite the spirit-tearing pain. Crack, crunch. Though this was the world of Kronos' conscious mind, Yianwu could hear the cracking and crunching sounds of his body as it began to change. Your proficiency in the skill, regeneration, has increased. 71%, 72%, 96%, 97%, 100%. Congratulations! Your proficiency in the skill, regeneration, has reached its maximum level. All stats have increased. Your strength has increased by 25 points. Your dexterity has increased by 32 points. You have gained a new understanding of your skill. A superior skill is being opened. The skill, Transcendent Regeneration, has been created. Your proficiency in the skill, Transcendent Regeneration, has reached its maximum level. A search for a new skill is being undertaken in consideration of your enhanced abilities. The Sin Stone's Superbia property is influencing the process. Your Sin Stone's Gula property is influencing the process. The superior skill, Status Return, has been created. Your mastery of the skill, Status Return, has explosively increased. Your skill has surpassed its limits and has become a divine skill. The Spring of Death has been activated. The divine skill, Universal Recovery, has been created. Universal Recovery, Rank, Power, Mastery, 0.0%. Summary. Those who wish to become gods must be steadfast, and those who wish to become kings must be able to defend their throne. Even in the face of unrelenting storms, the one who wields this divine skill must maintain a steadfast spirit, like an evergreen tree with deep roots. You may even escape from the clutches of death. The Spring of Death shall always be with you. Status Return. The peak status of your body and spirit shall be duplicated and stored as an idea. Regardless of the damage you sustain, even if your brain stops operating or you are on the brink of death, your body and spirit will regenerate from this idea. The amount of time and magic power required for this process will be based on the status of your body and spirit. Defying Death. As you seek the throne of Kronos, who reached the highest mastery of death, the domain of death will be under your control. You will be able to defy death with the data stored in your idea. However, once defying death is used, the skill cannot be used again for a minimum of 1 week to a maximum of 1 year. Yianwu's eyes widened as he looked at the renewed regeneration, now the universal recovery skill. Defying death. No matter how powerful and great the regeneration skill was, it required a huge amount of magic power and could not bring one back from the dead. However, once Yianwu acquired the divine domain of death, which was one of the halves of Kronos' spring, he managed to cross the boundary. Whoosh, whoosh. Yianwu could feel the spring turning in his heart. The left wing of his sky wing began to resonate. Yianwu's divine domain greatly expanded from his philosopher's stone to the spring of death and then to his sky wings. The giant demonic divine draconic body is attempting to evolve. A search for a new possibility is being undertaken. Yianwu's body was trying to evolve, and with his increased limits, he started devouring a greater amount of divine power. He could feel his spirit developing until it seemed to reach a limit. At that moment, he realized, I've hit a wall. He knew that he could not enhance his spirit further. The limitation wasn't because he hadn't reached the 7th step dragon body awakening. It was because he had reached the absolute limits of a mortal. He could no longer delay his exuviation and transcendence. Since he was already at his limits as a mortal, it was time to exuviate. However, Yianwu did not try to foolishly hurry the process. He could exuviate and transcend at any time. Right now, he had to focus on defeating and completely devouring the demonism, which he could finally accomplish. Open hollow corner bracket no. As he watched the world of Kronos' conscious mind and his own opaque darkness being devoured, the demonism could not help crying out. However, his cries faded like a dying fire. The demonism's expanded body was also shrinking at a fast rate as it made deflating sounds. The world of Kronos' conscious mind started to collapse, and a new darkness took its place. The world of Yianwu's conscious mind was taking over. Hades' spirit-eating sword has completed devouring. The unaligned god, Kronos, has been devoured. You have acquired all of his legends. You have made an achievement that is not easily accomplished. Additional karma will be provided. You have acquired 150,000 karma. You have acquired 200,000 additional karma. The purification process has begun. You have inherited Chronos qualifications. You have acquired the qualification to vie for the throne of less than Olympus greater than. Your legend has been spread throughout the heavenly world. Your ally less than Niflheim greater than is greatly surprised by your achievement. The ruling leaders have entered discussions. Your ally less than Chan sect greater than is congratulating you on your achievement. Your ally less than East Demon Army greater than is praying for the birth of a new king. Combined force less than Asgard greater than are showing no response. They are keeping silent. Combined force less than Olympus greater than are busily moving around to better understand the situation. The neutral force less than Diva greater than is silent. The neutral force less than Jia sect greater than is silent. The godly society less than Malik greater than is silent on the birth of a new being. They wish that you choose the side of good. The demonic society less than L'Infernal greater than is voicing concern over your rapid development. Vimala Citra is expressing happiness in your development. Sir Nunnos is carefully examining you. After a countless number of messages, the sound of chains moving rose as the demonism returned to his normal appearance. Rumble. The chains tightened around his arms, holding him up. The demonism tried to escape from the chains by squirming around, but with his powers completely devoured, he was nothing more than an empty shell. He couldn't even sustain Yi and Wu's appearance, which he had taken, and he quickly returned to appearing as a dark shadow. However, the opaque darkness continued to flow out of the demonism through his wounds. Kronos put Scythe's blade on the demonism's neck, making him look like a prisoner on the execution block. Open hollow corner bracket, you two, no matter what I'll kill you. Though his body had deflated, and he lacked any power, the madness in the demonism's eyes still gleamed. Yi and Wu looked at the demonism and couldn't help ridiculing him. I think you should first understand the situation you're in, right? As soon as Yi and Wu finished speaking, Kronos swung down Scythe. Slash. You have successfully removed the impurity. You have successfully completed your quest. Messages of the quest completion popped up in the window. Yi and Wu breathed out in relief, thinking he had finally gotten rid of this vexing creature, but he still felt a bit uncomfortable at the same time. Do you think he's still alive? He's not a creature who can be described as being alive or dead, since he's a piece of darkness, or a cluster of negative energy. Something like that. He can appear in any form. As long as the swamp that was the origin of darkness and emptiness existed, the demonism would never disappear. He would be reborn. The specific demonism that had tortured Kronos and Yi and Wu had been destroyed, but another similar demonism with the past demonism's memories could be reborn, since he was a piece of the Black King or a part of his will. However, because the Black King was an unknowable being who was beyond a mere existence or concept, it was difficult to say whether the demonism was an identity or another ego of the Black King. Beings with his vastness had broad and unfathomable minds, it was hard to determine his will from the surface alone. It was similar to the time Yi and Wu experienced vertigo when he first encountered the multitude of thoughts of the crawling chaos, back when he was still trapped within the boundaries of a player. Of course, the Black King was beyond the weak crawling chaos, but the comparison provided some reference. One thing was for sure, the demonism was intelligent. It was why he was always anxious and desired more power. He probably wanted to stabilize his ego and become an independent being. Kronos and Yi and Wu's bodies were probably tempting because they were perfect mediums for him. He's like a cuckoo. A cuckoo, yes. That's one way to put it. Cuckoos didn't have their own nests. They laid their eggs in the nests of other birds, leaving the owners with the task of raising their babies. The cuckoo hatchlings would grow and then kill the real hatchlings of the owner, eventually taking over the nest. The demonism was similar. He supplied Kronos and Yi and Wu with extreme strength, making them rely on him until he was ready to take over their bodies. Does Harmonia have something similar to the demonism? Yi and Wu recalled the other successor of the Black King he had met at the Door of Darkness. Although she was a successor of the dragons, she had pretended to be dead and disappeared, causing grief to many. She had forced Yi and Wu away from the Door of Darkness. It had been possible because she was more skilled in using darkness than Yi and Wu, but her strength was also powerful. It was something that mere dragons didn't have, and if she had gained it by combining with a demonism, and if that was the reason why she was acting as a doorkeeper, things made more sense. This is ridiculous. Yi and Wu felt a burst of annoyance. The demonism had always hovered inside the Philosopher's Stone, waiting for the opportunity to take over his body. Even though Yi and Wu had killed him, he would appear again in some form Yianwu wouldn't expect. Yianwu felt angry just thinking about it. I agree, I also did everything I could to get rid of him, but he'll be back. But I'm certain of at least one thing. That my strength alone is enough to defeat a divine being even though I'm not connected to the demonism. Kronos nodded heavily. You can now use the Black King's power properly. Yianwu had mixed feelings as he looked down at the chains wrapped around his arms. He was finally at step 1 of using the power of darkness. Since his father had said so, it was probably true, but he couldn't believe it. It was the same thing for spirit eating. Even though he had successfully swallowed Kronos' true body, enabling his soul to reach full maturity, he didn't really feel different. Was it because he was still in the world of Kronos' conscious mind? He opened a portal, thinking maybe things would feel different if he returned to the outside world. However, a new window popped up. The continuation quest qualification test 3, Creation of Spring, has been created. Scenario quest qualification test 3, Creation of Spring. Description: you have successfully dealt with the missing spring that put Kronos in a paused state for a long time. You have succeeded in eliminating the impurity, repaired the broken cogs and mechanisms, and put the lost spring back into its original location. You have equipped yourself with only one of the springs. The other spring is still missing, and since you know its location, Kronos will be active again. However, even if the spring is returned to its original position, it cannot be wound, and the mechanisms will not work. One last step remains: wind the spring and activate the mechanisms. Then, Kronos will truly be with you and open up a new path for you. Qualifications: successor of the Black King. Time limit. Condition for success: 1. Wind the spring and activate Kronos. 2. Use the manual to learn how to use the activated Kronos and help him reach his dream. Rewards: 1. Kronos, Holy Power. 2. Piece of the Clockwork Spring. 3. Yianwu tensed, thinking the quest was going to make him do something weird again, but thankfully, there wasn't anything out of the ordinary in the third quest. He had to equip himself with the spring. The system was using a fancy metaphor for something simple. All he needed to do was finish devouring Kronos. Activating it probably means winding the spring of death. Yianwu turned to Kronos, who was looking at the window through Yianwu's eyes. Kronos nodded. It was time to escape this maddening world. Yianwu closed his eyes. The spring of death located in his heart began to wind up. Crank, crank, it started to vibrate with the dragon heart and philosopher's stone. Sealing a god. Mother Earth, what is the meaning of this? Prince Nezha and Erlang Shen looked at Persephone with stiff faces. It was shocking enough that Persephone managed to overwhelm all the powerful beings present, but her actions were incomprehensible. God sealing was something that Hyo Chu had originated and passed down until it reached the great sage Sun Wukong, and eventually the heavenly demon. It was a power only allowed to firekeepers. Firekeepers were the beings who protected the holy fire that was also called the fire of the beginning or the fire of origins. Since holy fire was the light of ideas that created laws, it was incompatible with gods, who ruled over the laws of nature. It was the reason why the heavenly demon, who was neither god nor demon, could seal all divine beings inside the tower. This was the fire that had caused Lucille's fall. He hadn't been satisfied with his position and wanted to be reborn as a firekeeper after swallowing the holy fire. Thanks to this, all gods and demons banished him from the heavenly world. There was nothing more humiliating for gods than being sealed, and gods of the Chan sect, who had suffered first from the heavenly demon's actions, stiffened. Yianwu could seal gods using pieces of the Ruyi Bang, but he was immortal. However, Persephone was a divine being from birth. The fact that Persephone could use god sealing so easily could only mean one thing: Mother Earth is scheming something. It was impossible for divine beings to learn god sealing, especially Mother Earth, who had existed from the beginning of time. She was no doubt hatching an evil plot. There had been whispers that Mother Earth had been meeting other divine beings or appearing in front of them, had she been too busy plotting. However, there was no time to ask Persephone. The energy of Mother Earth that Persephone released spun in the air and began to expand. Prince Nezha and Erlang Shen activated their powers and swept the energy back. Open hollow corner bracket, you dare mock me? Agaras struck his hand down with a furious voice. Black demonic energy from the blade of his hand fell on Persephone's head. He was angered by Fenrir's sealing. Although the two of them bickered constantly, he considered Fenrir an acquaintance, and it was inevitable that he would be infuriated. Rage led to madness, and madness was a fountain of strength for Agaras. Do. Intense tremors shook Tartarus as if the stage were about to collapse. Space split, making way for falling black bolts. It was so powerful that the other divine beings didn't know if they could face it themselves. However, Persephone returned Mother Earth's energy and sliced the bolts in midair with ease. I should say the same thing. You are the ones mocking me. You were born from Mother but you dare reject this. Persephone's eyes glittered. Return to where you're from. Boom, boom, Mother Earth's energy fell on them like thorns. At the same time, Agaras saw something like a phantom image overlapping with Persephone's body. It was a giant tree that connected the heavens and the earth. The vast leaves and branches covered Tartarus, sky, and the roots began to take what was left of the hidden stage's powers. The large tree was beautiful but somewhat off-putting. Is that Yggdrasil? Was Mother Earth trying to take over the world tree all this time? Prince Nezha shouted in shock, only now realizing what Persephone was attempting. The societies who were watching were also shocked beyond belief. The neutral force less than Diva greater than harbors strong suspicions about the real intentions of less than Olympus greater than. The neutral force less than Gia sect greater than protests, saying this conflicts with the promises made by less than Olympus greater than. The neutral force less than Memphis greater than has declared they will review the alliance of the heavenly world. The godly society less than Malik greater than grows tense at Mother Earth's appearance. Metatron has convened the archangels under him. The demonic society less than L'Infernal greater than reviews the severity of the situation. Greater demons are having a heated debate under Baal's supervision. It's too late. However, Persephone just smirked, as if none of it mattered. The roots suddenly rose and mixed with Mother Earth's energy. Agaras raised a storm of demonic energy to slash at the roots, but they were so tough that they managed to deflect his powers. Boom. In fact, it was more accurate to say that they were absorbed rather than deflected. Even before the powers managed to affect the roots, they had already been sucked inside. Agaras realized this was the same method that had sealed Fenrir. His powers were being used to supply the tree with strength. The demonic society less than Niflheim greater than expresses their rage. The chief, Loki, announces a decree regarding this situation. The society will not remain silent on this matter. Jormungandr is preparing for descent. Hell is preparing for descent. Their attempts to descend have failed. Rumble, crash. Enraged at Fenrir's ceiling, two of the three siblings of Niflheim tried to descend, but it wasn't easy. With Thea's death, Persephone now had most of the authority over Tartarus. Invading another holy territory required a large number of laws of causality. Niflheim had already sent Fenrir, so it was difficult for Jormungandr and Hel to descend as well. Prince Nezha dealt with the roots while avoiding direct contact with them. The roots were too tough, and if he was hurt, he would be absorbed as well. I've had to reveal my hand sooner than I expected, but no matter. My mother does not want to swallow only you, but also this entire tower. Do not fight the return to Mother's embrace. Spark. If anyone else had said these words, they would have been considered crazy, but since it was Persephone, they had to take it seriously. She was on the level of a supreme god. In fact, she was strong enough to be a king of gods, which was a level of strength that didn't exist after Kronos. The divine being stiffened, not knowing how to fight Persephone. She turned in a different direction. And as for that, she was looking at Kronos' still shaking corpse. I must take back Mother's son, Kronos. Swish. The strongest root bolted through the ground towards Kronos' corpse. No. Athena frantically hurtled forward in the same direction. She couldn't allow Persephone to take Kronos' body while Yin Wu was still in there. Sister. It's dangerous. Hercules and Ares quickly tried to chase after her, but the roots held them back. Athena reached Kronos' corpse and rapidly spread Aegis open. However, even if it was a strong holy artifact, it didn't seem like it could stop the roots. Everyone watched as Athena seemed to be on the verge of being swept away by the roots, when suddenly. Player ### is descending. Crack. With the cracking sound of a hatching egg, Kronos' corpse was destroyed. Kronos' corpse had been a mountain that split Tartarus in half for thousands of years, but it was now shattering into pieces. The beings who were watching felt shocked. Those from Olympus, like Athena, Ares, and Hercules, were especially incredulous as they turned to look. Black particles floated up from the corpse. Clatter. Like a snake slithering through grass, Vigrid came soaring out of the corpse, followed by chains. The sword stopped in front of Athena. Vigrid looked vastly different from what Athena remembered. It glowed with black light, and it looked like a giant scythe. However, something about it was familiar to her. Clang. The roots aiming for Athena were instantly blocked, even though these were the same roots that the gods and demons could not defeat, no matter how much they used their powers. However, there was more. The impact flung Vigrid back, but it only changed directions in midair and slashed at the thorns. Sharp winds blew as Vigrid shot towards Persephone. The roots on the ground rose to create a multi-layered barrier around Persephone, but Vigrid cut through them like paper and reached Persephone. Cashing. Persephone grew thick tree bark on her skin to protect herself from Vigrid, but the sword had already cut into her flesh, leaving her bleeding. Just how? Persephone couldn't understand what was going on. It was already unbelievable that Kronos' corpse would disappear, but how could Mother Earth's blessing be damaged? Astonishment flashed on her face. Nothing like this had ever happened before. Clatter. Vigrid and the chains returned to Yi and Wu, who was standing next to Athena. Are you all right, you? Athena was about to thank him but found herself hesitating. She suddenly felt like she shouldn't speak so informally to him anymore. She didn't know why she felt this way, but something felt different with Yi and Wu, as if his nature had changed, or his existence had grown to another level. Yi and Wu still looked like Yi and Wu on the outside, but he seemed to be a new being on the inside. Something so massive it couldn't be measured had been condensed and stuffed inside Yi and Wu. Yes, it was as though Kronos' corpse had been shrunken and put away inside Yi and Wu. Although Yi and Wu's physical stature was still ordinary, his presence overwhelmed every being near him. In fact, it was as if his presence filled all of Tartarus. Athena wanted to ask Yi and Wu what had gone on inside Kronos' corpse. Open hollow corner bracket. So, this child is my granddaughter. I feel a bit self-conscious seeing her like this. If you consider my Korean age, I'm barely over 40 but a granddaughter goodness. Vigrid vibrated as it looked at Athena, dazed. Kronos had returned to his sword form as he entered reality. It was an earnest request he'd made of Yi and Wu. When we go outside, you'll be able to see your grandchildren. I did see Sesha when I was looking at the future, but you jumped the gun, too. Am I Jung Woo? Of course not. Then, a lot of time has passed since you were trapped in Tartarus. Olympus has changed quite a bit. Kronos had grown silent. He had never expected to hear this, but it made sense. So much time had passed, it was impossible for Olympus not to change. Divine beings were often sluggish because the concept of time wasn't enough for them, but they were still faithful to their desires. Kronos had never asked Shinla about Olympus. Although he had general information, he didn't want any details because they would only break his heart. His abandoned children were in Olympus. He knew how difficult everything had been for them. He didn't know how to deal with his feelings around his grandchildren, so he had turned back into Vigrid. He couldn't muster up the courage to show his true appearance. Still, he was relieved to see they had grown well. He also had many mixed feelings after learning about the divisions in Olympus. The fall of his children, and the fight between the Titans and the Gigantes, these were all consequences of his actions. Now that he was back in Tartarus, he knew he had to stop avoiding the situation. He wanted to see what was happening. Even though Yi and Wu had told him a lot, he wanted to see things for himself. Open hollow corner bracket but close hollow corner bracket. Suddenly, a thought occurred to Kronos. Open hollow corner bracket. If she's Zeus' daughter, that makes her your niece. Why are you speaking formally to her? Isn't it supposed to be the other way around? Kronos couldn't help being curious since he didn't know anything about Yi and Wu and Athena's relationship. Yi and Wu didn't know how to respond. Technically, he was Athena's uncle, even though Athena was incomparably older. Let's put out the urgent fire first before figuring that out. Open hollow corner bracket. Yes. Sure, of course. Yi and Wu gripped Vigrid and turned to Athena. I've found all the springs. Athena's eyes widened. What, then? Since I've taken all of Kronos' legends, it will be impossible to harvest holy power from him. Open hollow corner bracket. Hey. I see you're calling your father by his name now. Yi and Wu ignored his father's grumbling voice in his ear. Athena looked thrilled. The fact that Yi and Wu had Kronos' legends meant he had become much stronger than before. Yi and Wu turned away from Prince Nezha, Erlang Shen, and Agaras, who were looking at him from above, and looked at Persephone. Of course, they weren't the only ones watching him. Your ally less than Niflheim greater than watches you. Your ally less than Chan sect greater than watches you. Your ally less than East Demon Army greater than watches you. The combined forces less than Olympus greater than are wary of you. The neutral force less than Diva greater than looks at you with fearful eyes. The godly society less than Malik greater than is deep in thought. The demonic society less than L'Infernal greater than silently considers something. Vimalasitra desperately wishes that you quickly arrive at his location. He shouts that you are the only being who can quench his thirst. Cernunnos quietly closes his eyes. The heavenly world is shaken. All the beings of the 98th floor observe you. The heavenly world that always watched him was observing him even more closely than before. Unlike Athena and the others, who couldn't access the heavenly world because they were too busy dealing with Persephone, the entities above were already aware of Yenwu's condition and his hidden secret. Even though Kronos was only a half-god who had lost his divinity, the fact that he had awakened would cause tremors throughout the heavenly world. Persephone also couldn't continue attacking, now that she felt something from Yenwu as well. Open hollow corner bracket that child is my daughter-in-law. Kronos' voice was sharp as he looked at the daughter-in-law who had taken the life of his eldest son, Hades. She's also your granddaughter. Open hollow corner bracket What are you talking about? You said she was my daughter-in-law. But how can she be my granddaughter? Because she's also Demeter's daughter. Open hollow corner bracket what kind of a shitty family is that? Demeter was Kronos and Rhea's second daughter. It was understandable why Kronos sounded so dumbfounded. That's just how the legends of Olympus are. Open hollow corner bracket the fuck? What happened while I was gone? Kronos sounded extremely confused. It wasn't that he didn't understand. There were plenty of cases on Earth where people married within their families to protect their bloodline. The kings of Egypt, the House of Habsburg, and even during the Silla or Goryeo periods in Korean history. Furthermore, divine beings tended to be very independent. It didn't make sense to assign human ethics to them, since humans were more attached to their blood relatives. Still, he couldn't believe his own children had done it. Even Uranus's children were all adoptive siblings. Was this karma punishing him? He thought it was possible. After Kronos died, the authority of Olympus had taken a dive, and they were threatened by many societies. It was possible they needed to ensure the relations within Olympus were stable. Open hollow corner bracket Kronos stopped looking at Persephone with a complex expression when he suddenly felt something strange. Open hollow corner bracket son. Is that child truly my granddaughter? Is there a problem? It's possible you're feeling something because she's the apostle of Mother Earth. Open hollow corner bracket no. Mother Earth aside, although that child is similar to Demeter, there's something different about her. She wasn't created naturally. Although she is based on Demeter's holy powers, there are other things woven in as well. Close hollow corner bracket. What? Open hollow corner bracket she must be a clone. One made from factors. Kronos laughed in disbelief. Open hollow corner bracket ha. It's possible to create divine beings artificially, then. Yenwu was speechless. Open hollow corner bracket that's a doll based on Demeter's factors and the factors from some of the most powerful transcendents. Yenwu's eyes widened. Open hollow corner bracket she's my fake. Yenwu's gaze shot towards Vigrid. Open hollow corner bracket and she's supposed to be my granddaughter. Everyone must have gone crazy while I was gone. Kronos muttered in disbelief, his smile cynical. It was the first time Yenwu had seen such a cold side to his father after their reunion. This was probably what his father had been like when he was still the king of gods. At the same time, Yenwu recalled Demeter looking at her daughter with pity before. However, she hadn't been able to persuade her. Yenwu put those thoughts aside. I see, so that's how it is. Kronos. Has the legacy of Kronos been passed down to you? Persephone looked up at the sky and mumbled. It seemed she had just finished speaking to Mother Earth. For a brief moment, mixed emotions flashed in her cold eyes. Then, she began to speak again, her eyes narrowed. Oh, dear, since it's no longer possible to take Kronos' holy power, I'll step back since nothing good will come out of clashing with you. Says who? Me. Clatter. Persephone answered indifferently while raising her roots to create a portal. She was retreating. However, Yenwu quickly moved his chains to stop her. Vigrid cut through space at the speed of light. Whoosh. Flock. Persephone's severed right arm flew into the air even as she disappeared through the portal made with Mother Earth's holy power. She had escaped from right under Yenwu's nose, but he didn't mind. He'd planned this, anyway. Open hollow corner bracket you're going to cause some trouble. Of course, I have to show that she can come as she pleases, but leaving isn't up to her. Yenwu swung Vigrid to open up space, following Persephone's tracks. It was time for him to wreak havoc. How? Persephone grimaced as she looked at the stump where her right arm had been. She had returned to the temple of the king of the underworld, but her body was still connected to the world tree, since the goddess she served, Mother Earth, had taken over almost the entire tree. The world tree transcended all universes and dimensions and was responsible for pulling out the ideas that existed beneath the surface of the world. It was the system that ruled over all living beings and was responsible for reincarnation. Since its vitality came from death, it was enough to overwhelm all the holy powers of the world. The reason Persephone had been selected by Mother Earth was for her domains of spring and seed. She was only given the power of a supreme god because of her connection to the world tree. No matter how much holy power she used, she should be able to replenish it quickly. If her limbs were severed, she ought to be able to regenerate them instantly, but her arms showed no sign of growing back. Instead, a strange energy remained around her injury, fighting to enter her body. Persephone was trying to heal her injury with holy power, but the strange energy soon took over her holy power and began to tighten around her soul. Persephone recognized it. This is. A voice suddenly interrupted her train of thought. Open hollow corner bracket death. Mother. Persephone stiffened. Mother Earth's words were now clear and intelligible. Her chaotic thoughts that were uncontrollable in the past had merged into one. It was evidence that her ego was beginning to restore its identity. Has the invasion been successful? Mother Earth was so busy taking over the world tree that she didn't have time for other business, which was why she hadn't been able to step up right away when the Titans rebelled. Open hollow corner bracket of course now. Mother Earth scoffed sharply. Open hollow corner bracket I'm not even halfway done close hollow corner bracket. Why not? Open hollow corner bracket how incompetent must you idiots be? Persephone gritted her teeth when she felt Mother Earth's fury through the channel. Open hollow corner bracket you let those stupid titans start a coup and the heavenly world is divided again. You already lost the Elohim in the past, and now you've lost Kronos. Is this how you run things? Have you forgotten how crucial it is for us to possess Tartarus? Persephone was silent. As Mother Earth said, all their efforts had ended in vain. Losing Kronos' corpse to the other side was the greatest blunder they'd made. They had only been able to restore their lost divinities and reclaim Olympus thanks to Kronos, holy power, which had been an endless supply of resources. Now, it was gone. Mother Earth was in the process of trying to take over another resource, the world tree, but it was difficult to say how long it would take to complete it. Even Mother Earth didn't know, and considering that they were using Kronos' holy power to take over the tree, their plans had been derailed even more. And now, they had to face their enemies, which included Yi and Wu, who had the ghost giants. Things weren't looking too good for them. However, Persephone was concerned about something else, the fact that Yi and Wu was Kronos' son. And he wasn't just any son, but a legitimate one born from Rhea and brother to Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus. He was the real successor of Kronos, one who hadn't participated in the rebellion. The Titans are moving to resurrect their king. Kronos if -- says he'll succeed Kronos, the Titans will turn to him. And if he even gets the door to Erebus, Persephone bit her lower lip. Everything will be ruined. Poseidon and the others would support Yi and Wu as well. With Zeus asleep from heavenly demon disease, many in Olympus were displeased with the rule of the Gigantes. Those in Olympus only obeyed because of Mother Earth but none of the divine beings truly welcomed them. However, if a union of the Titans and the original Olympian gods appeared, it was obvious how things would end. Yi and Wu had the perfect lineage and a good reason to start a war. On top of that, he was second to none when it came to the support of other societies. After Persephone discovered Yi and Wu was Kronos' legitimate child, she pretended to be nonchalant in front of Yi and Wu, but she felt chills running down her back the entire time. The only consolation was that Alpharon was blocking Yi and Wu's exuviation and transcendence, but how long would that last? Alpharon had never been defeated before, but from what Persephone had seen of Yi and Wu so far, he seemed like someone who could someday overcome the obstacle that was Alpharon. Persephone felt anxious, and Mother Earth was most likely feeling the same. Open hollow corner bracket no. This might be for the best. Kronos and -- all these things were technically mine. Darkness. Since they are combined as one, it will be easier to take everything. Mother Earth's hysterical voice quickly calmed. Her tone was now warm and kind, like a mother holding a sleeping baby. However, Persephone felt more frightened at Mother Earth's change in attitude. Open hollow corner bracket you must not fail this mother who birthed you. I hope you do not disappoint me this time. Persephone bowed. Yes, Mother. The being speaking was more Viera, who was pretending to be Mother Earth, than Mother Earth herself, but Persephone couldn't say the words at the tip of her tongue. At the end of the day, her life and powers were all thanks to Mother Earth. If she received the orders to block someone, she needed to do it. If she had to swallow them up, that's what she had to do. Persephone had no other choices. She had climbed all the way here to find freedom, but why did she feel that not much had changed from the time she had been Hades' wife? Persephone lightly touched the air in front of her with a finger. She could feel her pairing to the gigantes who were in Tartarus. Stop chasing after the titans and exterminate the bugs that dare dirty my holy territory. Open hollow corner bracket yes, your majesty. Open hollow corner bracket yes, your majesty. Bugs. That was what she called Yin Wu and his companions. No one dared to question her command. The leaderless titans were dust that could be swept away at any time. She had to take care of the true nuisances first. Persephone's orders held more authority than those of the deceased Typhon. Open hollow corner bracket why your majesty. Something has gone wrong. A frantic message came from gigantes in charge of the center of the temple of the king of the underworld. What is it? Open hollow corner bracket enemies have AACK. The words were cut off in mid-sentence. Persephone's face stiffened. She opened her pairing to the other gigantes in the temple. What is going on? This temple is protected with multiple barriers, how is it possible that we're under attack? It wasn't that Persephone didn't think Yin Wu would follow her after her escape, she just hadn't been worried thanks to the barriers protecting the temple of the king of the underworld. The ownership of the temple had been temporarily changed to theirs because Typhon had suddenly attacked from the inside, but otherwise, it was extremely difficult for intruders to get in. The center of the holy territory, the great temple, received a powerful blessing that was difficult to overcome. Furthermore, the holy territory was in Persephone's hands, and with Mother Earth's additional power, it was impossible to get in. However, Persephone had no more time to wonder. Do. The entire temple of the king of the underground was violently shaking. The holy territory, temple of the king of the underground, is being attacked by the allies. Persephone's face filled with shock. The messages continued. Player #S contributions are spectacular. She grew speechless. The spring of death has been activated. The barrier, blessing of Mother Earth, has been implanted with death. The barrier, glory of a shining spring, has been implanted with death. All barriers have been neutralized with death. The barriers have collapsed. You have entered Persephone's holy territory, temple of the king of the underworld. The dome-shaped barriers over the temple met Yin Wu as soon as he entered through emptiness, but Yin Wu broke through them with ease. The spring of death didn't just affect living beings, non-living objects weren't safe from its damage either. Everything had a lifetime, and the spring of death could speed up this lifetime until its end. No matter how painstakingly Persephone had set up the barriers, they couldn't withstand the spring of death. The sight that met Yin Wu's eyes when the barriers fell was familiar since he had stayed in this land while he was under Hades. Hades' majestic temples were now in ruins after so many battles. Open hollow corner bracket there's more barren land than anything else, but it's quite grand. It must have been regal and beautiful in the past. Kronos said sadly as he looked down. Yin Wu could hear his yearning for Hades, who left after giving everything to his youngest sibling. However, Kronos' sentimentality didn't last too long. Open hollow corner bracket the B barriers have fallen. Open hollow corner bracket it's ###. Stop him, quick. The gigantes, who had been trying to rest after the war against the titans, discovered Yin Wu and activated their powers. Father. Open hollow corner bracket of course. When Yin Wu swung Vigrid, black chains quickly spun and brought down the powers heading his way. Explosions that looked like fireworks shook the battlefield one after the other. Clatter. Vigrid slid through emptiness and appeared from beneath the temple. It traveled through the ground, and gigantes fell screaming, their ankles sliced through as bursts of black light appeared. Open hollow corner bracket ack. My ankle. Open hollow corner bracket how. Ack. Open hollow corner bracket d damn it. Like a snake slithering toward its prey, Vigrid rapidly surrounded the holy territory in chains, slaughtering the gigantes. Knowing they'd only be sitting ducks on the ground, the gigantes quickly flew up. Rise. At Yin Wu's order, the shadows throughout the holy territory connected, and dark soldiers began to rise. It was Pluto, Hades, former subordinates had returned to their motherland. Their eye sockets blazed with blue fire. Open corner bracket the enemies that must be torn to death are here. Open corner bracket brothers, let us lead them to the abyss of death and take revenge. Under Shannon and Hanryong's command, Pluto let out eerie cries and began to attack. Crash. Soon, Yin Wu's other subordinates appeared. Open corner bracket follow the king and honor his name. On the ground, Valdebik and the ghost giants struck the escaping gigantes. Open corner bracket. It's much easier to manifest now that you've become closer to darkness. Open corner bracket. I've always hated the gigantes. In the sky, Calidus and the Summer Queen, the dragon of death, spewed their breath. Open corner bracket. Darkness to this world. Close corner bracket. Bu's eyes appeared and he attempted to take the entire temple into Yianwu's shadow. Countless spells and powers shot through the quaking battlefield, overwhelming all the gigantes. Open corner bracket. Death to the enemies, fight for our partners. Accompanied by those chants, they instantly captured the temple of the king of the underworld. Open hollow corner bracket. You must heed your mother's wishes, child. Persephone could vaguely remember the words her mother, Demeter, had said to her when she was young. Although she had always been stuck inside a glass chamber and barely conscious, Demeter always mumbled the same words to her: listen to my sorrow. Heed my wishes. Help return the warm father my wretched little brothers have taken away from me. Since you have been created from the talent and factors of mighty beings, you will be able to fulfill my wishes. You must. Open hollow corner bracket. You are the only chance for our ruined family. So, please close hollow corner bracket. Persephone didn't understand her birth mother's words, but sometimes, whenever she was awake, she would ask her mother, "Mother, you're always asking me to return your precious parents to you, but why don't I have any parents like that?" Showering death on their enemies, and fighting for their allies, the ghost giants beat up anything in their path, following the words of their motto. The gigantes had regained their courage after the appearance of Yianwu's subordinates and quickly began to strike back, with outstanding contributions from the 8 great gigantes, especially Ephialtes, Clitus, and Mimas. Alcuinus, whom Mother Earth was said to favor, destroyed many of the Dis-Pluto soldiers as he moved forward. Open corner bracket. Rise again. Close corner bracket. However, at Bu's command, the shadows wavered and the destroyed Dis-Pluto members stood again, attacking the gigantes from behind. As long as Yianwu was safe, Dis-Pluto was invincible. No matter how many times they were destroyed, Yianwu's near-infinite supply of magic power and holy power after swallowing Chronos' true body meant that they would never disappear. Of course, this was an extremely frustrating situation for the gigantes. Open hollow corner bracket. You insects. How can there be no end to you? Alcuinus shouted up to the sky. It was horrifying not knowing where Vigrid would emerge from the emptiness, and the Dis-Pluto soldiers who returned from death over and over were equally horrifying. It was hard to believe that this was the holy territory that Olympus was so proud of having absolute authority over. What was even more frightening was that every time the Dis-Pluto soldiers returned, their armor and weapons grew darker, and their auras changed. If they had once had the auras of warriors of death who protected Tartarus, their auras were now more violent, like a plague that would send all living beings to the abyss of death. There was an eerie air around them that made their opponents feel fear and horror. Alcuinus knew where this energy came from since it was a power the gigantes had been using just moments before. To think he'd be able to bring out Chronos' holy power in such a short span of time. Chronos' holy power was the mysterious power that had restored the divinities of the Titans and gigantes, allowing them to seize Olympus. It was true Mother Earth had been a huge factor, but it was Chronos' holy power that made everything possible. But now Dis-Pluto was using the powers that had made the Titans and giants undefeatable. The gigantes couldn't help recoiling in fear. Their absolute authority had been taken from them. Of course, Lyconius and the other gigantes still had much of Chronos' holy power left, but now, it could no longer be replenished. Furthermore, there were limits to how much of the holy power they could use because of their incompatibility. From the beginning, they could only access Chronos' strength thanks to Mother Earth's powers. However, Dis-Pluto was different. They had an almost infinite amount of Chronos' holy power, and they weren't limited when it came to using it because it came from the spring of death. As they repeated death several times and grew closer to the spring of death, they were becoming more familiar with Chronos' holy power. It was obvious who would be at an advantage the longer the battle went on. In addition, Dis-Pluto wasn't the only card Yianwu held. The descendants of the giants who had terrorized divine beings roared throughout the battlefield, and in the sky, the Summer Queen and Calidus emitted breath, making it difficult to move through the heat. The Temple of the King of the Underworld is under threat from the overwhelming strength of hostile forces. The eastern zone has been occupied by a heavenly spirit, Rebecca. The western zone has fallen to the ghost giants. The southern zone has been exposed to Bone Dragon Ismenios and Demonic Dragon of Chaos Calidus. The northern zone is close to destruction due to Death Lord Shannon and Death Lord Hanryong. Reconstruction is urgently needed. The temple of the king of the underworld is in danger. The temple of the king of the underworld is in danger. A stronger defense is required. The temple of the king of the underworld is being taken over by player ###. Alcuinus gritted his teeth at the dismal messages. There was only one word in his mind: ruin. He was one of Mother Earth's children and had tried to reclaim Olympus in the past, but he and the others hadn't been able to defeat Zeus and were locked up in Tartarus. That cannot happen again. Alcuinus gripped the halberd in his hand. He didn't want to return to a period of grief and submission again. How? Realizing there was no path to victory, he looked around and focused his gaze on the giant stone that looked like a pillar in the center of the temple. It was an altar that was used to connect to Olympus in the heavenly world in cases of emergency. I must retreat to Olympus and reorganize our battle lines. Alcuinus began to dash towards the altar as soon as the thought formed in his mind. Yes, I can just stay in Olympus, away from this cursed Tartarus. Yin Wu and his subordinates were only powerful in Tartarus. Yin Wu wasn't qualified to enter the heavenly world on the 98th floor, and it would be pointless for him to go there. In fact, since the Gigantes had lost Kronos' corpse, Tartarus wasn't even that important anymore. Although they wouldn't be able to capture Poseidon and the others, the risk of a rebellion didn't matter if they blocked off the only path to Olympus. To get to the 98th floor, Yin Wu would have to get past Alphron on the 77th floor first. Alcuinus didn't think Yin Wu would be able to defeat Alphron, even if he had Kronos legends. If Alphron could be defeated that easily, the beings in the heavenly world would have descended into the lower floors of the tower by now. Alcyoneus decided to retreat first and reorganize their forces. They could continue the war later. He didn't know what kind of punishment he'd receive for not carrying out Mother Earth's orders, but it was important to get out first. Open hollow corner bracket. What are you? But there was already someone at the altar. At first, he thought it was a comrade who had come to the same conclusion, but he realized that this was a massive, undead creature with tattered robes. The creature had a strange crystal orb in his hands and fire blazed in its eye sockets. It was the Arch-Lich, Faust. Normally, Alcuinus would have just shooed the being away, but he found that he couldn't even approach the creature. The being was clearly stronger than ordinary undead, and in fact, calling it one of the undead seemed insufficient, which was why he'd asked what it was. The shadow that wavered around Bu made his blood run cold. It was a strange energy that seemed to deny the laws of the world. Now that Faust had the Pale title, he was a transcendent with divine authority. It was difficult to tell whether he was a god or a demon, but he was clearly a divine being. However, the aura of transcendence who ruled over laws wasn't there, as though he weren't transcending the laws but rejecting them outright. Just like an otherworld god. Alcuinus' eyes widened. Only then did he read the energy spinning around the being, laws of the otherworld, also known as disorder or chaos. It was the same as the powers of the creatures who called themselves the old rulers. No, with that much strength he's almost an outer god. However, Faust spoke, interrupting Alcuinus' thoughts. Open corner bracket. I despise fools like you with ignorant eyes that don't recognize your true master. Rattle rattle. The sound of bones clicking against each other rang out as his jaws moved up and down. Alcuinus felt shivers run down his back. Open corner bracket. He has come himself, but you idiotic fools did not bow to him. Close corner bracket. Faust narrowed his eyes in dissatisfaction. Open hollow corner bracket. What nonsense are you speaking about? Alcuinus shouted to repel his fear. Open corner bracket. That is your crime. Faust lifted the orb in his hand in the air as if he didn't want to listen to Alcuinus. Alcuinus hurtled forward. He didn't know what Faust was doing, but he knew that he couldn't let the creature succeed. However, it was poor judgment on his part. Faust was a leader among Yin Wu's subordinates, and his magical knowledge was deeper than those of most divine beings and otherworld gods, since he'd studied the Emerald Tablet in his past and current lives. He was a master of the laws of order and chaos, which was why Alcuinus sensed the energy of otherworld gods from him. However, Faust's powers weren't within order or chaos. Those were just categories the divine beings in the tower and the otherworld gods had created for convenience. The true essence of power existed even before that: darkness. Faust was confident no challenger in the long history of the tower who had chased after darkness had ever been closer to darkness than he was. The master he served was the successor of darkness and a true heir, with the Black King's apostle as his father. Those who defied his words were trash that needed to be swept away. The crystal orb in his hand was dark and emitted a blinding light at the same time. It was made of the egos of divine beings Yi and Wu had absorbed, like the crawling chaos and typhon, which he'd taken from the demonism. The egos and vestiges glowed spectacularly and transformed into a thick fog made up of the demonism's mind dispersed in the air. SSSSS's. Open hollow corner bracket and no. It surrounded Alcuinus and began to penetrate through his skin. By the time he realized this fog was connected to emptiness and darkness, a curse that took one's soul, it was already too late. After he scattered into dust without even putting up a fight, Faust began to eliminate the other gigantes who were behaving rudely to his master. Rattle, rattle, each step made the sounds of his clicking jaws ring out. The center of Tartarus, the temple of the king of the underworld, has been reclaimed. You have made an achievement that is not easily accomplished. Additional karma will be provided. You have acquired 150,000 karma. You have acquired an additional 200,000 karma. You have been rewarded. The ownership of the hidden stage of the 60th floor, Tartarus, is being transferred from Persephone to player ###. Warning: the environment of the stage is too hellish. No living beings can reside here. Establish more temples. Construct a great temple in the center and reinforce the strength of the holy territory. Many beings are currently trespassing in your holy territory. As soon as Yi and Wu read the messages that they had managed to reclaim the temple, he could sense all his subordinates cheering. Open corner bracket finally. Open corner bracket it's too soon to rejoice. We can celebrate after those gigantes bastards have been kicked out of the great temple. Open corner bracket all soldiers, forward. Open corner bracket eradicate those gigantes bugs. Open corner bracket let us clean this temple before our Lord returns. Open corner bracket death to the enemies. Open corner bracket fight for our allies. Pluto happily congratulated themselves but continued to watch out for the gigantes' next actions. The ghost giants and dragons were also in high spirits after the overwhelming victory. Faust had contributed more than Yi and Wu expected, so he didn't think he needed to worry about them anymore. His next act was to slice space with Vigrid, and he came face to face with Persephone, who sat across from him with a stiff expression. I suppose this is the only place you could escape to. Yi and Wu smirked at her. It was the same expression Persephone had shown him as he'd escaped with Hades on his back. Aside from who was doing the smirking, the main difference was that Hades' sacrifice had allowed Yi and Wu to escape safely, but there was no way out for Persephone now. Since Faust had taken over the center altar that led to the heavenly world, her lifeline was gone. If she really wanted to escape, however, there was one place left, Erebus. But would Persephone, the arrogant and prideful goddess, choose exile from the heavens, which was what entering Erebus meant? Yi and Wu was certain she wouldn't. He took a step forward into emptiness. At that moment, the various spells and powers that had activated inside her space fell on Yi and Wu. The power, Depressed Plant, has been activated. The power, Icy Frost, has been cast. The power, Decomposed to Waste, has been activated. All powers have been transplanted with death and destroyed. However, Yi and Wu brandished Vigrid and the Spring of Death began to rotate, instantly taking apart all her attacks. Such strength, Yi and Wu scoffed. Most powers and curses meant nothing to him now. As long as the black chains were connected to Vigrid and the Spring of Death was spinning, most attacks toward him would be nullified. The concept of death didn't just apply to living things. As long as something existed, it could be destroyed. This was the kind of death that Yi and Wu had inherited from Kronos. Why do you get in our way for every single thing? What have we done to you? Too much talking. Yi and Wu brought Vigrid down on Persephone, who was glaring at him menacingly. Clatter. As the black chains spun around, emptiness opened behind her head. Persephone shifted her head and barely managed to evade it. At the same time, she manifested a part of the world tree, lashing out with its roots as though they were tentacles. Clang. However, Vigrid easily sliced through them. Rumble. The sword thunder on the blade exploded and continued from the second extreme, the third extreme, the fourth extreme, and to the fifth extreme. They didn't stop, and the blessings and barriers protecting Persephone shattered. Vigrid's sharp tip pierced her through the ribs on her right side. Clang. The roots of the world tree shoved Vigrid away, but Yi and Wu suddenly appeared in front of Persephone and twisted Vigrid into her heart. Puak. Blood spurted from Persephone's mouth. Nevertheless, Persephone continued to glower at him in rage. The sword thunder injured her spirit body, and the energy of death took over her body, but her steely mind couldn't be broken that easily. I worked so hard to get here. She tried to turn the tables by grabbing Yi and Wu's collar instead of pulling Vigrid out. Yi and Wu just pushed Vigrid in deeper. A wave of heat blew. It was a fiery wind she'd gained from her position as Hades' wife, the queen of the underworld. It forced Vigrid out, the fire feeding on the roots of the world tree and rising from her hands, growing bigger. Boom, boom. When Yi and Wu tried to distance himself, Persephone thought he was trying to escape and sent her attacks to him. The explosion cracked the ground and destroyed all the temples nearby. Crash. Yi and Wu left the holy territory and the ruins. Where Persephone had stood was a giant, lava-covered wooden figure. It was her gigantification. She had finally used the power she'd ordered the Titans to use, the same power she never wanted to use herself. Crew. A violent roar rang in the air. An immense amount of holy power that made the Titans and Gigantes seem insignificant shook the temple of the king of the underworld. Yi and Wu's subordinates and the Gigantes stopped fighting, turning to look at the sight. Open hollow corner bracket Persephone is using Kronos' holy power. Open hollow corner bracket gigantification. Open hollow corner bracket is she planning to destroy this place? The Gigantes, who believed in Persephone, realized they were in danger and froze. They believed she was using her final card that she was cornered. However, Yi and Wu knew this was Persephone's real form. Open hollow corner bracket sun. Just then, Kronos spoke up. Yes. Open hollow corner bracket I'm sorry I've been thinking of you as a horrifying hybrid mutant all this time. What? Open hollow corner bracket to think there's a worse hybrid than you ha. Yi and Wu was speechless. Open hollow corner bracket as I said, she's a copy made up of many various things. I don't know if she's being impudent or idiotic to use my holy power. When Kronos first opened his eyes, he was shocked to see the Gigantes using his holy power in that manner. Yi and Wu couldn't find it in him to tell Kronos that the Titans had taken it even further than the Gigantes. He didn't know what his father would think when he saw the gigantic figures kilometers in height walking around. Open hollow corner bracket let's end it quickly. Kronos spoke as if he didn't want to look at the gruesome creature any further. Yi and Wu nodded and tightened his grip on Vigrid. In the end, although the manifestation of Persephone's true body made her larger, she wasn't much of a threat. No matter how hot her winds were, she couldn't defeat the power of the throne of death, purgatory furnace. Even if she brought hellfire from the depths of the underworld and burned the roots of the world tree, it couldn't grow hotter than sword thunder. The power that strengthened her was Kronos' holy power, and now it belonged to Yi and Wu. Above all, now that Tartarus was Yi and Wu's holy territory, the authority of the throne of death was working more effectively than it ever had. Underworld Domain Declaration. Tartarus has been declared your underworld domain. You can now access more features. Your allies are being blessed. Your enemies are being cursed. Clatter. Persephone was stronger than a supreme god, but unfortunately, her nature and power was incompatible with Yi and Wu's. Crash. Open hollow corner bracket no. Perhaps this had been fated to happen after Hades gave Yi and Wu the throne of death or after Persephone had chosen to take the powers she had now. Open hollow corner bracket no. Rumble. Despite her fearsome appearance, Persephone was at the mercy of the chains. She thrashed and struggled until her hands and feet were eventually hacked off. Sword thunder ripped through her giant body like paper. Open hollow corner bracket not like this. Persephone used the weapon she'd been saving as a last resort. At Apostle Persephone's request, Mother Earth's manifestation is beginning. With bloodshot eyes, Persephone mustered the strength to call Mother Earth down to Tartarus. Mother Earth had ordered her to stop Yi and Wu, his subordinates, and his allies, but Persephone knew it was impossible now. When Yi and Wu took Kronos' corpse, his subordinates were already on par with the Gigantes, and Yi and Wu on his own was as powerful as a supreme divine being. Perhaps he was even as strong as Zeus. He wasn't someone Persephone could handle. She knew that Mother Earth was busy trying to take over the world tree, but she needed her mother's help right now. If not, everything would be over. She didn't think Mother Earth would refuse her request. Losing Tartarus and Olympus would be a huge setback for Mother Earth's plans as well. Most importantly, Persephone believed Mother Earth, whom she considered more like a mother than Demeter, wouldn't deny her plea. Mother will help. Mother Earth has refused her Apostle Persephone's request. Persephone froze at the unexpected response. Her wooden face was filled with shock. I guess you were rejected. Yi and Wu landed on Persephone's forehead with a smirk, as if he had been expecting this. Pawns are discarded when they're no longer useful. Open hollow corner bracket that can't be. Mother is the only person who understands me. Don't speak like you know. No, you're wrong. Mother Earth isn't the one who understands you. Yi and Wu's eyes darkened. It was Hades. Open hollow corner bracket. What kind of nonsense? Persephone was about to shout in fury, but she stopped after realizing Yanwu was serious. Now that she thought about it, Yanwu had succeeded to the throne of death from Hades. That meant he hadn't only received divine authority but also Hades' legends. Open hollow corner bracket. What did you see? Yanwu didn't feel the need to answer her question. Open hollow corner bracket. Tell me what you saw. You foolishly stepped on Hades, the only person who understood you, to get to where you are. Now, it's time for me to step on you. After several clashes, Yanwu already made his judgment. There was no point in conversing with her further. He thought she had more to her, but after her betrayal of Hades and ascent as queen of the Titans and Gigantes, she turned out to be nothing. She was just a foolish being drunk on authority, assisted by Mother Earth's power. The crawling chaos or Typhon were better than her. The crawling chaos was acting out of amusement, but he had the ambition to find darkness, and Typhon had fought to avenge his race. Cashing. Yanwu brandished Vigrid and cut apart Persephone's body. Unrivaled disorder. The power Yanwu had gained from watching Chronos legends activated, and black wind spun over Persephone's giant body. Spurt. Cracks appeared along the bark, and black holy power sprayed in the air. Yanwu's bracelet sucked everything in. The roots tried to resist him, but they couldn't get past the wall of chains in midair. Clatter. The black chains stretched taut in the air and wrapped around Persephone, who had returned to her human form. She hung from the chains, kicking and struggling. Keg. For the first time, desperation appeared on her infuriated face. She still had lingering attachments to Mother Earth and questions to ask about Hades, but she couldn't speak because she couldn't breathe. Yanwu looked at her with an indifferent expression, then pulled the chains to twist around her neck. Crack. Persephone's head fell powerlessly to the ground, her tongue lolling out. Open hollow corner bracket. You are the only light that can save us. Demeter's words never left the young Persephone's mind. However, Persephone didn't have any complaints. In fact, she liked it. She lived in the dark without a single ray of light, and no one visited her except for her mother, Demeter. Demeter's visits were usually brief, which meant Persephone spent a lot of time on her own. She was her own friend and conversation partner. Then, one day, when she was muttering to herself, she saw someone other than Demeter for the first time. Open hollow corner bracket. I secretly followed my sister when I heard she was doing strange things again, but what is this? How wretched. An impassive-looking man looked at her with a creased forehead. It was Hades. It's hard to believe they're a godly society. This place is a mess. Hoo. This is nice. It just means our allies are strong. When Erlang-shen and Prince Nezha chased after Yanwu and followed him into the temple of the king of the underworld, they were astonished and shocked by the sight that met their eyes. The Gigantes were losing. These were the same Gigantes who had seized Olympus, which had boasted Poseidon and other great divine beings. Of course, Titans were no longer helping the Gigantes, but Yanwu's achievement was still incredible. Persephone had Mother Earth's support and was an object of fear in the heavenly world. The sight of her head being twisted off was unreal. Ha. Goodness. I've always felt this, but what an amazing guy. See, I've always said that. That child is worthy of becoming my apostle. Apostle, my ass. He'll become a great friend for someone like me, Hercules. Brother, I suppose you still haven't given up on that foolish dream. Hercules and Ares arrived after, still bickering. However, their faces were wreathed in smiles. On the other hand, Athena was on her knees with her eyes closed, praying in a devout manner. Unlike her noisy little brothers, she was blessing the situation. The mighty wall in front of them could now be smashed to open up a path. As he watched, it was clear to Erlang-shen who would be the new master of Olympus. After rescuing the divine beings in Erebus, he'll climb up to Olympus. Tartarus and Olympus were originally separated, but if the two are united, they will have great synergy. The reborn Olympus was sure to be different from the other societies. And if the dead dragons and ghost giants are added to that Erlang-shen's eyes grew serious as thoughts whirled in his mind. The heavenly world had already been discussing the threat Yanwu posed with his fast growth, and now, their worries would grow even more intense. If Yanwu sat on the throne of Olympus, the other societies wouldn't be able to keep him in check easily. Some were full of anticipation at the thought that someone who could defeat Alpharon had finally appeared for the first time in the tower's history. But they'll be worried about their authority being usurped. It's obvious what those fools are thinking. I must help keep things peaceful. Erlang-shen came to the conclusion that he would have to keep the relationship between Yanwu and the heavenly world stable since the Chan sect desperately needed Yanwu's help. Hash hash hash. In the meantime, Agaras arrived, folding his black wings to descend in front of Yi and Wu. Yi and Wu was stuck between Ares and Hercules, who were saying annoying things like, "Become my apostle, let's hunt together," or, "Stay with me," so he quickly turned to Agaras for a change of pace. Open hollow corner bracket son. I'm saying this seriously as your father. Let's educate these guys first. Are young ones like this nowadays? They have no respect or sense of hierarchy in their family. What if they attempt to be equals with me, their grandfather, when we meet? He wanted to be free of Kronos nagging as well. Please think about appearing in front of them first before thinking about such things. Open hollow corner bracket ahem. I'll do that later. Still, I used to be called the king of gods, and I'm ancient to them, so I can't appear like some loser. I have to show up in a mysterious and impressive way. Yi and Wu thought his father was just too shy to meet his grandchildren, but he knew it would only lead to more nagging if he said it out loud, so he kept quiet. At the same time, it felt surreal to be able to speak so easily to his indifferent father. What is it? He put those thoughts aside and looked at Agaras. Agaras looked uncharacteristically solemn. It meant he had something serious to discuss. Open hollow corner bracket save the dog. Fenrir. Open hollow corner bracket yes. Yi and Wu had also heard that Persephone had defeated Fenrir and sealed him. However, he was surprised that Agaras, the prideful and greedy demon, would request that he rescue someone. He had believed Fenrir and Agaras didn't like each other since they bickered all the time, but it turned out that they'd grown fond of each other through all that fighting. Open hollow corner bracket he's like my pet dog. I should have taken better care of him, but I didn't. If I only knew how he was sealed, I would do it myself, but I don't close hollow corner bracket still. It appeared that Agares' pride hadn't gone anywhere. Agaras looked like he despised himself for even making such a request. It was humiliating. Open hollow corner bracket so please help him. Agaras of the demonic society less than East demon army greater than pleads for the help of his ally, player hash hash hash. The demonic society less than Niflheim greater than requests you fulfill your role as their ally. Jormungandr, who is preparing for descent, looks at you pleadingly. Hel, who is preparing for descent, looks at you pleadingly. The leader of less than Niflheim greater than Loki awaits your answer. Yi and Wu slowly nodded, feeling the gazes on him. I was planning on doing that anyway. His gaze was fixed on Persephone's corpse, which was still hanging from the chains in the air. Just because this battle was won doesn't mean this fight is over, as long as Mother Earth exists. Open hollow corner bracket you. I have to drag out the bitch who has escaped to the far corners of the heavenly world. Agaras read the murderous menace in Yi and Wu's eyes and burst into laughter. Open hollow corner bracket ha. I suppose you can't simply end things like this. That's not hash hash hash. A declaration fit for someone I acknowledge. Agaras returned to his lunatic self. Open hollow corner bracket son, is this guy bipolar? Why does he keep going back and forth? Yi and Wu decided that telling Kronos about Agares' mad obsession for himself and Jungwoo wouldn't end well, so he decided to ignore Agaras. However, Agaras didn't seem to mind. He looked up at the sky and opened his black wings once more. Chh. Black demonic energy emanated from him like fog. Open hollow corner bracket then I will take care of the cleanup so you can focus on dragging Mother Earth out. Do. Tartarus. Ashy sky began to shake, and hundreds of meteors began to rain down. Open hollow corner bracket this should be enough to take care of the gigantes who are trying to escape the temple, no. The less than East demon army greater than is descending on Agares' command. Yi and Wu had already declared Tartarus as his holy territory. With Yi and Wu's permission, only a few laws of causality were required to descend, and so it was easy for them to come down. Agaras shot up to the sky and began to hunt down the gigantes in Tartarus with his subordinate demons. If the demons are moving, we can't stay still. We will take care of the Titan forces in hiding. Prince Nezha smiled as if he was happy to finally get moving. Erlang Shen shouted up at the sky. Come, lords. With the agreement of two leaders, the Tatyanpyeongun Dao Tian Ping Jun of less than Chan sect greater than. Prince Nezha and Erlang transformed into flames and a water dragon respectively and led the descending soldiers to the western region. Once the remaining titans and gigantes were taken care of, the hunt would be over. In that case, we'll restore the door to Erebus. Athena knew there was nothing they could do to get rid of the titans and gigantes, and she wanted to support Yi and Wu in a way that they could. Yi and Wu nodded gratefully and pulled the chains to him. Clatter. Persephone's corpse dropped powerlessly to the ground. Yi and Wu opened his left palm towards her. The power Hades' spirit-eating sword, attempts to consume Persephone. Yin-woo didn't just want to swallow Persephone's soul. His soul was already complete after taking Kronos' corpse, so it would be difficult for him to grow any stronger no matter how many divine beings he swallowed. However, what he needed was inside Persephone's soul, the terminal connected to Mother Earth. If he could take the tool that allowed Persephone to be Mother Earth's apostle, it wouldn't be difficult to track Mother Earth down. It seems like Mother Earth disconnected her channel in the end, but it won't be hard to reconnect it. No one could have ever expected that Persephone and Mother Earth's use of Kronos' holy power would also help Yin-woo counterattack. The power, Hades' spirit-eating sword, has successfully consumed Persephone. A god of less than Olympus greater than, Persephone, has been consumed. All her legends will be transferred. You can inherit Persephone's qualifications. Inheriting Persephone's qualifications meant he could take over her position as Mother Earth's apostle. Yin-woo also managed to find what he had been looking for in Persephone's remains. You have discovered the broken terminal. The spring of death is activating. Restoration is being attempted. It has failed. Restoration is being attempted. It has failed. Restoration is successful. The channel is fixed. Reinforce the channel. You have gained the title, Apostle of Mother Earth. Open hollow corner bracket ha ha ha. To think my son, the successor of the Black King, would become Mother Earth's apostle. Kronos couldn't hold in his laughter. Open hollow corner bracket the position that all divine beings detest. You're my son, but you're a real headache. Kronos, tone grew brighter. Open hollow corner bracket and now you're going to drag out the god you serve to this place. What could be more amusing than bringing down a god? I learned it all from you. Open hollow corner bracket nope. I can't compare to you. Have you ever heard the saying, the student becomes the master? Sprouts only bud where seeds are sown. Yin-woo casually joked around with his father as he raised his hand. The channel that he had only been able to feel but not see or touch was now at the tip of his hand. The spring of death is activating. Feeling the strange sensation, he mustered up all his strength to pull the channel to him, as though he were playing tug of war. Open hollow corner bracket lunatic in the end close hollow corner bracket a deep anger transmitted through the channel. Although he couldn't see Mother Earth's expression, he was sure that it was distorted with rage. It was only to be expected. Mother Earth thought that Persephone's death would have cut off her connection to the lower world, but now Yin-woo had taken over the connection and twisted it for his own needs. Furthermore, Yin-woo was now officially Mother Earth's apostle. His connection to her could not be broken easily. Although gods were known to look for their apostles, Yin-woo had turned the tables on her and chosen the god whose apostle he would be. In the past, Mother Earth would have been excited at the prospect of gaining an unexpected access point. However, she was extremely wary of Yin-woo. Once he had swallowed Kronos, Yin-woo had gone beyond being a plaything and was now an enemy. Yin-woo felt refreshed as if he could read Mother Earth's mind. It felt as though something blocking his chest had disappeared. The angrier Mother Earth became, the greater Yin-woo's enjoyment grew. Kronos was feeling the same thing. Although he had joked around with Yin-woo, he was deadly serious. Viera, who had swallowed Mother Earth, was an enemy they had to defeat. How could a father be expected to let the person who stabbed his youngest son in the chest go? Open hollow corner bracket you lot have always been so troublesome. Perhaps due to Yin-woo's rise in power level, Mother Earth's thoughts were crystal clear. Open hollow corner bracket didn't I say that I'd only wanted the Black King's darkness? I'm not interested in you lower world beings. Why have you always been a thorn in my side? Why do you always get in the way? Mother Earth's anger rose palpably. Yin-woo wouldn't have been surprised if she'd sent down divine punishment to kill him off. However, this only made him more certain of her limitations. It's confirmed, she can't descend here. Mother Earth was nothing more than a cat bristling its fur to hide its fear. If she could truly kill him, she would have attacked right away instead of saying insults like a grumpy old man in the corner. Since she had not shown herself up, the invasion of the World Tree is probably not going as well as she expected. Otherwise, she's in the middle of a very crucial point in the process. It was great timing. There was nothing more fun than sabotaging and ruining the big Mother Earth had worked so hard to achieve. Open hollow corner bracket my son, what an ugly smile you have on your lips. Just looking at your evil expression makes my skin crawl. It's making me tremble all over. Kronos laughed as he watched Yin-woo. What, you don't like it? Open hollow corner bracket how could I not like it? Kronos chuckled. Open hollow corner bracket I think this father of yours might die from overexcitement. Ah, it's as refreshing as a cold beer after toiling under the summer sun. Yi and Wu could not help laughing with his father. Open hollow corner bracket. However, you still have to be careful. When Kronos suddenly spoke in a serious voice, Yi and Wu's eyes grew sharp. Open hollow corner bracket. Mother Earth is a being that troubled me and your grandfather. You know why I was quickly taken in by the demonism's influence and why your grandfather was cursed, right? Yi and Wu quietly nodded. He'd seen the memories inside Kronos' corpse. Uranus's death was caused by Gaia's curse. Kronos' madness became serious once he used a great deal of power to subdue Gaia. Considering how Uranus had unified many heavenly societies and created Olympus and how Kronos had been strong enough to rule as the king of gods, it was obvious that Mother Earth possessed great power. Perhaps the power that Yi and Wu had seen so far was only a small fraction of her true power. Open hollow corner bracket. And you mentioned that she's changed from the time I met her, when she had no ego and only reacted instinctively. Knowing how to think means that she's become more dangerous. It also means that she can make plans and decisions. Kronos was warning Yi and Wu of the danger. Then, Yi and Wu nodded in agreement before asking, what if we return her to her previous state so that she can no longer think or plan? Open hollow corner bracket. Wait, you're close hollow corner bracket. Kronos realized that Yi and Wu had something up his sleeve. Clatter. Without answering, Yi and Wu smiled coldly as he pulled the black chains. Mother Earth was trying her hardest to break the link she had with Yi and Wu. She tried to force him out of his position as apostle by closing the channel and canceling the terminal. The spring of death has been activated. Kronos' holy power has strengthened the terminal. Kronos' holy power has strengthened the terminal. Despair of the Black King has strengthened the channel. The channel has expanded. The channel with Mother Earth has grown clearer. Yi and Wu used Kronos' holy power to strengthen the terminal as he wrapped the channel in his black chains so that the connection would not break. Mother Earth's weak signal gradually grew clearer. After all, there was no reason for the system to weaken the channel that connected a god and her apostle. At that moment, Yi and Wu felt as though he were standing in front of Mother Earth. It even seemed possible that he could restrain Mother Earth and contain her. Open hollow corner bracket. Let go of me. Let go of me, you leech-like bastard. Of course, Mother Earth did not wish for this to happen, and she began to curse him. She was nothing like the aloof being she had once seemed. Yi and Wu did not plan to miss this great opportunity. Clatter, clatter. Eventually, more chains appeared from the emptiness and shot out. It became possible for Yi and Wu to accurately detect Mother Earth's location. He could open space and send the black chains directly to her without going through the channel. Space split like broomstick bristles as the chains pierced through it. An endlessly tall tree appeared in the pockets of emptiness, the World Tree. It was disgusting to see Mother Earth clinging to the sacred World Tree in the form of murky light. The tree symbolized the origin of idea, reincarnation, and the natural laws. The chains wrapped around Mother Earth's wrists and neck. The channel has expanded to its maximum. The rate of synchronization between the god and her apostle has reached its peak. Open hollow corner bracket. Let go of me. Let go. Mother Earth struggled as she tried to shake off the black chains, but the more she struggled, the tighter the chains grew. It was impossible for her to cut the chains since divine iron couldn't be overcome with physical methods. Open hollow corner bracket. You're probably the only one in the history of the universe to use a channel in this manner. Kronos clucked his tongue. The channels were meant for gods to direct their apostles, and now Yi and Wu was using it to bind Mother Earth. As if they were responding to Kronos' words, the heavenly societies began to react. Your allies less than Niflheim greater than are astonished at your methods, which they had never imagined. Your allies less than Chan sect greater than are discussing a re-examination of the channel, which has thus far been neglected. Your allies less than East Demon army greater than are discussing how the channels could be used in various ways to have fun. Your enemies less than Asgard greater than are keeping silent. Your enemies less than Olympus greater than are keeping silent. Neutral force less than Diva greater than is collectively inhaling in exasperation. Neutral force less than Gia sect greater than looks at you with fearful eyes. All members of the godly society less than Malik greater than look at you in amazement. The demonic society less than Linfernal greater than is very happy to see that you're inclined towards sadomasochism. Vimalasitra looks at you and bursts into laughter. Cernunnos clicks his tongue lightly, judging your actions as frivolous. Open hollow corner bracket. Those demons never change. They were so lewd even during my time. Nothing's changed. HMPH. Kronos chuckled at Linfernal's reaction. Bam! Suddenly there was a sound like something being ripped apart from beyond the emptiness. Thud! Something huge passed through the emptiness and fell heavily in front of Yi and Wu. It was a branch so enormous that it seemed well over hundreds of meters in length. It was the part of the world tree that Mother Earth had infected, and it had gone black. Part of the world tree has been lost. Arg! Mother Earth was overcome with excruciating pain and screamed. Stop! I said stop. If you continue, the world tree will be ruined. Even your natural laws, the divine providence of your physical world, will be destroyed. Don't you know this? And yet, you wish to continue. By forcing Mother Earth from the world tree, it was inevitable that part of the world tree would be torn off since she was in the process of assimilating with it. Yi and Wu wasn't sure he could rip off only the infected parts, and if he continued, he might accidentally rip off the parts of the world tree that weren't infected. This meant that he might damage the ideas. Since the natural laws were the basis for the existence of divine beings, they naturally had a strong attachment to the world tree. Apart from this, damaging the world tree would mean damaging the physical world, so it was something that even the gods avoided. No matter how crazy the gods were and no matter how severe their conflicts, they still avoided affecting the ideas. So what? However, Mother Earth had not considered one thing. Why should I be concerned about this? Yi and Wu was not a divine being. Open hollow corner bracket, you madman. How many times has she said that today? Yi and Wu smirked. Although her level of consciousness had risen, her vocabulary had decreased. Even if the world tree is damaged, I will bear it all as long as you're removed. Mother Earth could clearly see that Yi and Wu was not making an empty threat. She could read Yi and Wu's thoughts through their channel, and his thoughts were dark enough to be pure lunacy. After his brother disappeared with a final cry, Yi and Wu lived with only the thought that he would somehow get revenge. Yi and Wu had overcome many obstacles to get this chance. Most of the 8 clans were destroyed beyond hope. The difference in power between them and Arthea was so great that the rest of the clans would probably collapse into a heap from just a gust of wind sent by Arthea. It was the same for the enemies who had hurt his brother. Most of them died by Yi and Wu's hand, and now, only one remained, the one he hated the most, Viera. The desire to kill her had never left Yi and Wu, nor would it. Even if the tower collapsed or the laws of the universe were broken, even if these were the consequences of striking at Viera's neck, Yi and Wu would not think twice. Open hollow corner bracket son, that's a bit close hollow corner bracket. Even Kronos found it hard to talk to Yi and Wu at this moment. Kronos had been born as a god, and he therefore believed firmly that the world tree could not be touched. However, his heart also yearned for vengeance against Mother Earth, who had taken away his youngest son's life. Because his thoughts were too conflicted, it was impossible for him to hastily stop Yi and Wu. Mother Earth had no choice but to cry out for compromise. Open hollow corner bracket, I'll give you what you're looking for, Viera. It was the answer Yi and Wu wanted to hear most, and the corners of his dry lips rose higher. In an instant, Yi and Wu could sense Mother Earth's thoughts, which had been united as one through the channel, split into dozens and hundreds in a matter of seconds. Open hollow corner bracket, what are you talking about? You're me. Open hollow corner bracket, I will hand over the Witch of Stars, so let go of me now. Open hollow corner bracket, no. This is a lie, I'll kill you, no matter what. Open hollow corner bracket, I am you, how can we be separated? Open hollow corner bracket, I'm just reverting back to the way things were. You were the one who consumed me. Open hollow corner bracket, it's unpleasant for me, an entity that has existed since the beginning, to be compared to a mere mortal like you. Open hollow corner bracket, shut up. Mother Earth's consciousnesses argued with each other as if they were haggling in a dingy marketplace. One consciousness wanted to cut off the part with Viera, another consciousness thought it was ridiculous, and yet another consciousness was trying to seek a compromise. There was also that sought to postpone the assimilation of the world tree and take immediate revenge on Yi and Wu. There was even a consciousness that was indifferent and yet another that only expressed a primitive hunger. All of these various consciousnesses and thoughts cluttered Yi and Wu's mind. Open hollow corner bracket HMPPH. What a shit show. Kronos was dumbfounded by the situation. Many gods and heavenly societies were opposed to Mother Earth, but this was the first time they'd seen her behave erratically. However, even in such a chaotic situation, it was inevitable that one thought would dominate. Open hollow corner bracket, no. Open hollow corner bracket, hey, me. How can you treat me so ignorantly? Open hollow corner bracket, I even offered a soul stone. Open hollow corner bracket, when it's no longer useful, throw it away. Isn't that something that you said yourself? A cynical voice said among the others. Crack. Mother Earth tore off her left arm. Open hollow corner bracket, OWW. No, not this. Close hollow corner bracket. Various screams rang out, but the true body did not care as she threw her left arm into the emptiness towards Yin-woo. Thud, her left arm wriggled and twitched. It was made up of countless tiny branches and leaves, and it was hard to tell whether it was an arm or a branch. It was full of murky colors and reeked. Open hollow corner bracket and no. PSSH. Divine power seeped out of the rotten arm, and it slowly shrank and took the shape of a human. How I came so far but. The corpse-like human was breathing heavily, her complexion pale as she trembled. It was Viera. Scary. This was what young Persephone thought the first time she met Hades. Unlike his mother, Demeter, who often smiled kindly, Hades was impassive. Just looking at that face scared her. She was concerned that he would hurt her or do something she didn't like, and she looked at him with fear-filled eyes. Whoosh. Open hollow corner bracket. It's chilly outside. Wear this and warm yourself. The first thing Hades did was to take off his upper garment and wrap it around her body. Then, for the first time, young Persephone understood what it meant to feel the warmth. Ruin. Fall from grace. Perhaps outsiders would have to search for the appropriate description, but Viera could sum her situation up in one word: no. No. She was wounded from head to toe. Her beautiful and elegant figure in Jungwoo's memories was gone, and her silky black hair was tangled and matted, and her once confident eyes filled with madness. She was ugly. With this thought in his mind, Yin-woo approached her slowly, very slowly. Step. Step. Don't come near me. Viera hurriedly activated several magic spells. Although she had been forced out of Mother Earth, she had once been the Witch of Stars and the abilities she'd cultivated hadn't disappeared. Her magic spells still contained a strong destructive power. Bang, bang, bang. However, no matter how many magic spells she threw out, she could not penetrate the wall of the dead and the black shadows swirling around Yin-woo. She could not even leave a scratch or a particle of dust on Yin-woo. Even though she was strong enough to be called the mistress of all witches, she was now in a state of utter ruin. Many of the fallen gods reached points where they couldn't even contend against mortals, and Yin-woo was only technically immortal. He already boasted a power level that allowed him to look down on most gods. After he devoured Kronos' corpse, no one in the heavenly world could ignore him anymore. Don't come near me. No matter how many magic spells and curses Viera poured out, Yin-woo was not affected at all. She began retreating as she screamed. The fear she had been suppressing finally reared its ugly head. She felt suffocated as her hands trembled. Her mind went blank. The emotions she had lost while serving as Mother Earth returned even though she never wanted them back. In the end, Viera lost her mind as she choked with fear. She went berserk, and she threw anything she could find at Yin-woo. She even tried kicking him. Fenrir is descending. Suddenly, a space opened behind Viera and Fenrir appeared, pinning her to the ground with his front paw. Mother Earth had freed everyone that she had sealed. Bang! All the magic circles that Viera had opened vanished powerlessly. Bark! Fenrir wagged his tail while looking at Yin-woo. A demon of less than Niflheim greater than, Fenrir, greets you and says it's nice to see you. Fenrir's eyes glowed as though he were looking for compliments. Yin-woo smiled and scratched Fenrir's chin in thanks. Then, Yin-woo quietly squatted down and grabbed Viera by her neck. He slowly lifted her up. Let go of me, please. Viera struggled even more violently as she tried to escape from Yin-woo's grasp. She scratched the back of Yin-woo's hand with her sharp nails and even kicked him in the stomach. However, she only broke her nails and sprained her ankles, her fear followed by real pain. She had never felt this when she was part of Mother Earth. The waves of pain hurt so terribly that she couldn't control her screams of anguish. How could humans live with pain? Viera could not understand. It had only been a few years since she ascended to the heavenly world, so why did these feelings feel so unfamiliar? Her life as a human being seemed like the distant past, as if it happened thousands of years ago. She had grown too disconnected from the real world. She had completely thrown away all the feelings that she had experienced in the lower world since she thought she would never return, and so when they inevitably did, it felt even more foreign. She could once see throughout the entire universe, but her consciousness, which had stretched out infinitely, was shut down. She felt trapped in a narrow world. Even if Yin-woo weren't holding her neck, Viera already felt like she was suffocating in a very small cage. She did not feel like she was alive at all. She also had to contend with an even more terrifying fact: she would never again regain her omnipotence. Previously, she only needed to stretch her hand to make the heavens and earth tremble or to express her will and gain obedience. She couldn't believe that her hands, which had held power over the vast heavens and over all living beings, could be so powerless now. Wealth, fame, honor, glory, even if one put all these together, it couldn't compare to her previous power. The thought of dying such an ignominious death and the worrying knowledge that the things she achieved so far would disappear in vain made Viera Dune choke. "Let me go, let me live," Viera Dune begged for her life as she dangled in Yi Wu's grasp. Very ugly, Yi Wu was dumbfounded by Viera Dune's response. Yi Wu could see his cold, cynical reflection in Viera Dune's eyes. She had once whispered to his brother that she loved him. She had pierced his brother's heart with a poisoned knife. She had become Mother Earth. She had always exuded self-confidence and smiled proudly. However, none of that was left, and only ugliness remained. Yi Wu thought that she would maintain her dignity until the very end, but it turned out that she only amounted to this. How did such a figure rule over the heavens and lower world and be such a thorn in the brothers' sides? Yi Wu was bewildered. As if she sensed Yi Wu's condescending gaze and understood his thoughts, Viera Dune forced out a word even though she was still suffocating. "Me? Yeah, bullshit." Viera Dune's eyes, which had been filled with fear, grew sharp for the first time. "You bastard, you're just a third party, how can you babble about what you don't know? Do you even know what happened? Your brother never changed, he never treated me as his equal. He only thought of me as someone to be protected, a trophy that he could show off whenever he pleased." Pent-up anger and venom dripped from her voice. "So, I stole it. I took it away. Why, what's wrong with that? Our sacrifices made it possible for your brother to achieve fame and glory. We all supported him. Afterward, everyone got tired of supporting him and left." Viera Dune already foretold her own death. Thus, with a reddened face, she started pouring out all the words and thoughts that came to her mind. "You may be right," Yi Wu said after a long period of silence. It was a totally unexpected answer. Viera Dune's eyes widened. "What? As you said, Jung-woo might not have been such a good guy. Since he's my brother, I might be biased about him being an innocent victim." Yi Wu grew contemplative. Yi Wu knew his brother well because he had read his brother's diary over and over. Yi Wu had already deduced that his brother might not have been so innocent, and that the betrayal that his brother suffered could have also been his fault. So what? Why should the victims ally sympathize with the perpetrator? Do I need to weigh the circumstances? What? Why did you bother to support Jung-woo? It was probably because he was a great guy to be around. You guys were just jealous of that. If he thought of you as little more than a doll, he would have found a way to chase you to the ends of the world after you put a poisoned blade in his heart. No matter how weak he was, he still had that much power." Viera Dune was speechless. But Jung-woo didn't do that. Why? Because he sincerely loved you. Also a trophy. Don't make me laugh. I don't know who in the world would give their life up to a trophy. Yi Wu's face contorted. "You're just a traitor, Viera Dune. No matter how much you justify it to yourself, you poisoned your lover and made your own daughter a test subject. You're just a vicious monster." Ah, Viera Dune had opened her mouth to say something. However, Yi Wu didn't want to listen to more nonsense and tightened his grip. Crack, her neck snapped as easily as a candy cane. "A soul has been added to your soul collection." Yi Wu pulled Viera Dune's soul out of the collection and threw it into the despair of the Black King. He did not want to give her an easy death, but he did not feel that he had the authority to judge her. He was going to hand her over to Ananta, Sesha, and Brahm. Open hollow corner bracket. That was disappointing. Kronos, who had quietly listened to the conversation, muttered. She had hurt his youngest son, so he thought Yi Wu had let her off too easily. "No, I don't think so." Yi Wu shook his head resolutely. "I'm happier because I now have a present for Ananta." Kronos did not respond. He understood the heavy load his son was carrying on his shoulders. "I kept my promise. Let me go. I no longer anything with you. No more. Black King. I give up." Beyond the emptiness, Mother Earth was howling. She still hadn't been released from the channel. The thoughts exploded out in a disorganized fashion, perhaps because Viera Dune, who had functioned as her central ego, was now gone. However, they all had the same desire. Now that she had given up Viera Dune, she wanted to be freed. Mother Earth wanted to end everything and stop her pursuit of the Black King. Yi Wu smirked reflexively. "Well, that's probably Open hollow corner bracket. You made a promise you couldn't keep. How funny is that? Mother Earth doesn't even have an ego anymore. She's just a half-wit now. Only her original instincts remain. Kronos read Yi and Wu's thoughts and smirked. He'd already suspected Yi and Wu would do this. Open hollow corner bracket. But that's why she's even more dangerous. Raw, primitive power is more threatening and violent. Even if she doesn't have any intelligence, I'm not going to underestimate her. Yi and Wu activated the option while nodding at Kronos' warning. Summon of the dead has been activated. Who do you want to summon? Viera Dune, PSSH. As the soul collection opened, Viera Dune's spirit body appeared. She had been trapped in a world filled with thousands of spirits, and her face was tired and pale. However, she tried to shout something in an urgent tone. Your power, Purgatory Furnace, has been activated and is burning the soul of the designated target. Open corner bracket AC. Viera Dune's spirit body was suddenly engulfed in flames that rose from her feet. The furnace's purifying flames were burning away the evil achievements in her soul. The more evil deeds one accumulated, the more severe the pain would be. Viera Dune suffered an unspeakable agony. Even if she wanted to get out, she was imprisoned within the furnace. She even shouted for her own death. Open corner bracket. Please, stop, stop. Are you in a lot of pain? Yi and Wu looked at her, surprised. She had not batted an eye when inflicting pain on others, but now she was squealing like a pig. Though his ears hurt from her screaming, Yi and Wu decided to bear the discomfort. He was planning on having some fun. Open corner bracket. It hurts. Hurts. Please, please. There's only one way to stop it. Viera Dune could tell that Yi and Wu wanted something from her. Open corner bracket. Please, please. I'll do anything you ask, so let me go. Arg. It seemed that Viera was prepared to even offer up her soul. The corner of Yi and Wu's lips twisted upward. You were part of Mother Earth, so you're aware of Mother Earth's hidden vulnerabilities, right? Open corner bracket. You. Viera Dune momentarily stopped screaming, her eyes widening as she understood what Yi and Wu meant. Yi and Wu's eyes narrowed slightly. So, tell me everything you know. She's the one who abandoned you anyway, so there's no need to feel any sense of guilt, right? Yi and Wu was openly encouraging her to betray the person who had betrayed her. While Viera Dune was momentarily silent, Kronos shook his head and sighed vigrid. Open hollow corner bracket. It's a good thing we settled our differences, and I got on his good side. Impossible. What is this? Keep your promise. Mother Earth responded angrily, taken aback by Yi and Wu's unexpected response. She had given him Viera Dune, just as he asked, and she wondered why he wasn't keeping up his end of the bargain. Yi and Wu did not pay attention to Mother Earth's objections, and instead, he continued to stare coldly at Viera Dune. You don't want to say anything. I guess you still have some traces of loyalty. Then, it can't be helped. Yi and Wu was about to place the purgatory furnace containing Viera Dune inside his soul collection when Viera Dune cried out. She thought that Yi and Wu would really make her suffer for eternity. Open corner bracket. No, I'll tell you. So, please. Concerned that Yi and Wu would change his mind, Viera Dune began to mindlessly pour out information regarding Mother Earth that she had learned while part of Mother Earth's ego. Viera not only provided the weaknesses, as Yi and Wu requested, but she also spilled secrets that no one else knew. Mother Earth had separated from Viera Dune too hurriedly, and in the process, failed to properly remove information about herself. Stop. At once. Shut up. Mother Earth must have sensed the danger of not intervening. Her bloodshot eyes widened as she condensed her divine power, shooting a beam of light towards them. Clank. However, a black chain spun quickly and cut off the beam of light when it was only halfway to its target. Yi and Wu could feel Mother Earth becoming more anxious. Open hollow corner bracket. Oh ho. Does something like that exist? I knew that the conceptual gods possessed many mysteries, but Even Kronos was surprised by some of the secrets Viera Dune divulged, specifically one that revealed why Mother Earth was so obsessed with Yi and Wu and his younger brother and their relationship to the Black King. Conceptual gods came into being when the first light shone and the universe was created. The creation of the universe could be understood as a process that began when light, a foreign substance, exploded into nothingness and emptiness. As pieces of nothingness and emptiness reacted with the light, their properties changed little by little. As actions and changes occurred, these became the foundation for the birth of godly beings. These beings had undeveloped consciousnesses and primitive appearances, but they also had the power to peer into multiple universes and dimensions. These beings became known as conceptual gods or elder gods. Most of these beings didn't have desires, so even though they existed, it was almost like they didn't. These gods usually settled in one part of the universe and became the elements of ideas. On the other hand, the elder gods observed the changes in the universe and did not intervene. However, there were always exceptions. Unlike most conceptual gods and elder gods, who were meek, if they had any character at all, Mother Earth was completely different, and she thought that the changes in the universe were of her own making. Wherever land was created, wherever trees grew, wherever forests and mountains rose, wherever life was conceived and places developed until civilizations appeared, wasn't this all Mother Earth's work? The mystery of life began when she established herself. As a result, Mother Earth had an obsession for the beings she had given birth to. Although she did not have an ego or consciousness that directed her, she had the impulse to possess everything, and she included all living creatures, even transcendent beings, such as gods and demons. This was why Mother Earth had pursued the Black King. The conceptual god called Mother Earth had risen from fragments of nothingness and emptiness, and the original form of such fragments was the Black King. However, the ego of the Black King was imprisoned in the depths of emptiness. Mother Earth wanted to make the Black King her own or consume him in order to be reborn as a perfect being. That was why set her sights on Cha Jung-woo, who had received the Black King's blessings. She sought to consume his soul in an attempt to open a path to the Black King. This was why she had also set her sights on Viera Dune, who was close to Cha Jung-woo. It was also the reason she allowed Viera Dune to take over her ego. When Yin-woo appeared, Mother Earth wanted to consume him as well because of her desire. These were the secrets that Viera Dune divulged. Although Yin-woo and Kronos were angry, they were also relieved now that they understood Mother Earth's weakness, which had been unknown to them before. Open hollow corner bracket. In the end, there's no way to catch Mother Earth. However, we can now make sure she never pursues her desires again. Ignoring Kronos' anger, Viera Dune cried out with her remaining strength. Since Mother Earth doesn't have a proper form, her appearance comes from the Soulstone. Furthermore, I was in charge of that process. Yin-woo's eyes shone. He immediately knew which Soulstone Viera Dune was referring to, the Stone of Luxuriant Lust. It was the treasure that his younger brother obtained and Viera Dune had stolen. Rumble. At that moment, the Philosopher's Stone embedded next to Yin-woo's heart trembled violently, as if it were asking Yin-woo to give it the Stone of Luxuriant Lust. Open corner bracket. So, you should be able to achieve what you want. Now, please release me. Please. The process that Viera Dune described to Yin-woo was somewhat familiar as well, since it contained many of the revelations, elements, just like the Emerald Tablet. Viera Dune had created her own system using the knowledge she'd gained from the crawling chaos and through her research in the tower. Without this information, Yin-woo would have to exert a great deal of energy taking the Soulstone, but now, he not only had an idea of the situation, he would also find it easier to analyze Mother Earth's weaknesses, especially since his knowledge of the revelations was far superior to Mother Earth's. In the end, Yin-woo figured out how to force Mother Earth to submit right in front of her. Don't do it. Open corner bracket. I told you everything. Put out this fire, or just annihilate me. Mother Earth's anger and Viera Dune's screams mixed together. A corner of Yin-woo's lips twisted up as he looked at Viera Dune. Thanks to you, I got some good information. So, let me give you a nice present. Open corner bracket. Okay, yes. I did what you told me to do, so now. Viera Dune's eyes widened and an expression filled with anticipation and hope appeared on her face for the first time. There's something Jung-woo always said at times like this. Open corner bracket. What? I'm kidding, asshole. Viera Dune's expression became despairing once again. Yin-woo's smirk expanded into a large smile. Didn't you always lie to Jung-woo as well? So, you'll have to take your own medicine. Hash hash hash. You can't do this to me. Shut it. Even in her despair, Viera Dune struggled to escape from the purgatory furnace, but a shadow rose above her before it swallowed her whole, flames and all. Thump, thump, thump. Yin-woo could feel Viera Dune struggling in agony as her soul was torn to shreds. He could not even imagine how many evil acts she had committed and how long she would have to burn, as a result. The vestiges left behind by the purification process would automatically become food for his shadows. Yin-woo turned his eyes to Mother Earth. Although he could not see her face, since she was still stuck to the world tree, her expression was likely twisted. It was now time to begin his final hunt in Tartarus. Fenrir. Bark. Fenrir barked loudly as if he understood Yin-woo, then he howled to the sky. Ah-oh-oh-w. Fenrir has requested assistance from his society less than Niflheim greater than. Allies less than Niflheim greater than are sending reinforcements at Fenrir's request. Jormungandr is descending. Hell is descending. As the earth trembled, an enormous snake rose from the shadows. A woman with a pale complexion and a beautiful face appeared with several soldiers in the sky. Jormungandr, the serpent that wrapped himself around the world, and Hel, the goddess who ruled over the dead, appeared. They were both Fenrir's siblings and leaders of Niflheim. Since Hel, the youngest of the three siblings, was a god of death, she looked at Yi and Wu with a gaze full of vibrant energy. Open hollow corner bracket finally. I am finally meeting him. Our shining star. Even if I close my eyes forever right here and right now, there I won't regret anything. Open hollow corner bracket. What the hell are you talking about? Calm down, Hel, it's not the time to satisfy your obsession. Open hollow corner bracket. There is nothing more important to me than this moment, okay? Do you know how it feels to meet my bias? From the moment I stand him, my head has only been full of thoughts and concerns about ###. Open hollow corner bracket, bias, and, stan, what the hell are these lower world words? How do you even know them? While Jormungandr and Hel talk to each other. 6th step dragon body awakening. All powers fully unlocked, sky wings. Yi and Wu spread his sky wings and activated the wing of fight. Filled with Kronos' divine power, the philosopher's stone spun more fiercely than ever before. Bam! Using his chains as a guide, Yi and Wu flew into the emptiness and crossed over to Mother Earth's location. Fenrir and Niflheim's reinforcements soon followed Yi and Wu. Open hollow corner bracket. Oh. Me, too, wait for me. Finally, as Hel, the last to arrive, set foot on the other side. You have accessed the other side of the world. The ideas appear. You have entered the realm of the world tree. A huge, endlessly tall tree appeared in front of them. It was the world tree, Yggdrasil. The tree, which was the source of the natural laws that made up the world, was already partially rotten because of Mother Earth. At the request of the allies and player ###, less than Niflheim greater than has initiated a war. The target is Olympus Mother Earth. Bam! As soon as Fenrir saw Mother Earth, he immediately kicked up into the air and rushed to the world tree as if he wanted to take revenge for the shame he had suffered. Fenrir ran with a face full of anger, and whenever he raised his head, a rough breath blew out. Jormungandr also moved quickly toward the world tree to try and swallow Mother Earth. From the sky, Hel commanded Niflheim's corps of soldiers to bombard the target all at once. I will kill all. Amid the dazzling bursts of various effects, Mother Earth screamed out her rage and looked up at the sky. She seemed to be recalling the time she had been trapped within the tower by the others, and her fury was intense. A bunch of rotten roots rose to meet the Niflheim soldiers. The laws of physics grew twisted, and fireballs fell from the sky like raindrops. However, her onslaught did not last long. Draconic eyes, fiery golden eyes, black Gubatera, philosopher's eyes. Yi and Wu quickly scanned Mother Earth with his golden draconic eyes. Time difference. In his world of consciousness, Yi and Wu tried to find as many of Mother Earth's imperfections as possible. Fortunately, Viera Dune had given up a great deal of information, and he managed to locate many of them. 8 extremes of sword thunder. He followed the lines of his black and white vision and swung Vigrid, releasing a plethora of consciousness attacks. Rumble. Countless lightning bolts slashed Mother Earth one after another, cutting off her limbs. Her head exploded into 5 pieces like a firecracker. Mother Earth's screams spread throughout the location of the ideas. Ah! Boom! Mother Earth fell with a large thud. From afar, it seemed like a large bunch of branches had fallen to the ground, except it was writhing like an animal. SS's. Soon, the ghost giants, the dragon of death, Bu Faust, and Dis Pluto made their appearance. Boom! They rushed towards Mother Earth and started hacking at her true body. Now that they were imbued with Kronos' holy power, they were a true legion of death with destructive capabilities. Mother Earth's true body quickly fell apart. Less than Niflheim greater than is exclaiming at player ###'s commanding show of force and achievement. The Niflheim forces, who were attacking Mother Earth with Yi and Wu, looked on with great surprise. Jormungandr is urging his siblings on, saying that they should not lose out. Hel nods her head in agreement. She declares that she cannot let down such an important person's expectations. Fenrir is growling and yelling at Niflheim's soldiers to do more. The head of less than Niflheim greater than, Loki, is looking down from the heavens. He is proudly observing the allies' performance. Fenrir and his siblings redoubled their attacks so that they didn't lose to Yi-and-Woo and his troops. Boom! Mother Earth screamed more loudly. It appeared that victory was going to arrive sooner than anyone expected. Open hollow corner bracket. Don't let your guard down, son. Kronos gave Yi-and-Woo a warning. Open hollow corner bracket. Although you've greatly injured her by separating her from the world tree, Mother Earth is still Mother Earth. If it were so easy to defeat her, I and the other folks who came after me, as well as the societies from the heavenly world, would have defeated her long ago. Although Olympus managed to exert their influence and spread their name throughout the universe after Uranus's and Kronos' rules, this did not mean that Olympus was the only powerful heavenly society. Furthermore, there were other beings who had reached the King of Gods status that Kronos had achieved. Even Kronos could not guarantee victory over someone like Metatron from Malak or Baal from L'Infernal. Open hollow corner bracket. That lady won't lose easily. She's like a roach, or is, bitch, a more appropriate term. Anyway, she'll rise back up. Also, she's already completely merged with the Soulstone, right? Additionally, close hollow corner bracket. Kronos lowered his voice. Open hollow corner bracket. She's also exhibiting some qualities of the world tree. I don't think she'll be injured too badly. However, since part of her true body has already been hacked off, I'm sure chaos will ensue in the physical world from the damaged natural laws. It'll take some time before those damaged natural laws are mended. How did it come to this? Father. Open hollow corner bracket. Yes. What is it? I already know. A moment of silence ensued. Open hollow corner bracket. Son, do you really need to say things in such a disrespectful tone and manner? Yes. Isn't it fun? Open hollow corner bracket. You son of a bitch. Saying that is actually cursing yourself. Open hollow corner bracket. This crazy. Kronos was lost for words at his son's blatant teasing. However, he soon turned his gaze towards Mother Earth when he heard Yi-and-Woo's next words. I think it's starting now. Open hollow corner bracket. Anyway, we'll settle the matters between us later. Arg. Although it seemed as though she were on the brink of death after being hacked into pieces, Mother Earth let out a terrifying scream and rebuilt her true body into a bizarre form. It expanded, looking like a gigantic single cell, oozing poison and a terrible smell. However, for Niflheim forces had seen this before, and it triggered memories of the time before they had been trapped in the tower. In fact, Mother Earth's humanoid form was more jarring to them because they were used to seeing her as a blob. They quickly counterattacked. Open hollow corner bracket. Everyone, fall back. The poison that Mother Earth spewed out was filled with her divine power. A small misstep could mean that Mother Earth's divine power would contaminate their divine nature. If that happened, they would become Mother Earth's food, and they quickly retreated. Seeing the Niflheim forces fall back, Yi-and-Woo's troops also retreated to the shadows. Soon, the poisonous blob shrunk in size like a rapidly deflating balloon. Through his draconic eyes, Yi-and-Woo could see the soulstone at the center of the shrunken blob, glimmering with color within the black and white lines of imperfections. Yi-and-Woo took immediate action. He spread his sky wings and quickly reached the soulstone. The poison spewing out of Mother Earth quickly rushed back inside her body to deal with Yi-and-Woo. It was Hydra's venom, the same poison that Cisseus had used when he hunted down Athena. Hydra's venom was one of the few poisons that could affect supreme gods. An unknown substance is entering your body. You have been afflicted with the status, poison. Your powers have been reduced. Your skill, formless poison, has countered your poison status. Status is being updated. You have successfully neutralized the poison. Analyzing the components of Hydra's venom. Analysis complete. Hydra's venom has been added to formless poison. Your mastery of formless poison has increased. After using formless poison to neutralize Hydra's venom, Yi-and-Woo could now apply his upgraded formless poison skill onto his subsequent sword thunder attacks. Boom! The blob was scorched, and parts of it began to fall off. A terrifying shriek that was much louder than any of Mother Earth's previous cries echoed. Yi-and-Woo maintained his focus on the center of the damaged blob. Thump, thump, the soulstone beat like a heart. It was connected to a system of organs and veins. At the same time, the sin stone inside Yi-and-Woo trembled as if reacting to the beating. Yi-and-Woo felt the stone's desire to combine. They were pulling at each other like magnets. As soon as he extended his hand to grab the stone of luxuriant lust. Now, you won't be able, what you want. A face that looked like Vieira Dunes, but much colder, popped out next to the soulstone. The face was completely gray, like a plaster statue, and devoid of life. It was Mother Earth's incarnation. The incarnation shot out a hand. Bam! Unable to snatch the stone of Luxuria, Yianwu quickly wrapped his sky wings around himself to block the incarnation's attack. However, he was unable to dissipate all of the impact, and he was flung backward into the air. Mother Earth's incarnation swallowed the stone of Luxuria in one bite, completing her final transformation. The gray plaster-like skin of the incarnation began to take on an apricot color as the incarnation was reborn into a real body. Just as she had thrown away the useless part of the Eridune, Mother Earth successfully removed all the damaged and unnecessary parts of her true body, creating a new humanoid form through the Soul Stone. It was like a metamorphosis. Mother Earth had finally obtained a physical body, but her expression was full of frustration and disappointment. She had planned on swallowing the entire world tree, solidifying her ego through the Eridune, and being reborn as a perfectly omniscient, omnipotent god. After absorbing some parts of the world tree, she managed to transform many conceptual parts into her physical form, but she failed to obtain the all-powerful omnipotence that she wanted. She directed her frustration and anger at Yianwu, who had always interfered with her. Bang! Open hollow corner bracket, I'll tear you apart. Mother Earth spread a pair of gray wings and rushed towards Yianwu. Since she had refined her physical form through a soul stone, Mother Earth's consciousness was as organized as if she had a true ego. Yianwu read her intentions and raised Vigrid in the air to block her. Bam! Yianwu slightly frowned at the stinging pain that traveled through his arm from Vigrid, but he continued to swing Vigrid without paying much attention to it. Whenever sword thunder shot out of Vigrid, space tore apart. Boom, 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 rumble. Yianwu's attacks were powerful enough to rip apart any divine being. However, after finishing her metamorphosis, Mother Earth was formidable, and she managed to nullify sword thunder quickly with her hands. In some ways, Mother Earth's new form was more powerful than Yianwu. After all, Mother Earth had existed since time immemorial. Of course, in such a battle of transcendent beings, she would have the advantage. She opened her right hand to shoot out a skill, and Yianwu countered with his blade. However, Mother Earth shot out a beam of light to swallow Yianwu whole. Yianwu wrapped one of her legs with his chains and cut off part of her wing. The severed wing turned into sharp blades and shot at Yianwu's midsection. The rules and laws of the space had gone topsy-turvy. Yianwu quickly recognized that he was in a situation similar to that when he fought Nessie in the demonic sea. At that time, Nessie had constructed an illusory world to merge reality and illusion. Mother Earth was using a similar principle to twist the natural laws to her advantage. The divine power that Mother Earth had accumulated since her inception, the magic power of the Soul Stone, and the energy she had been collecting from Kronos' corpse all mixed together. Although the different natures of these pieces were incompatible, the Soul Stone, which was the core of Mother Earth's physical body, processed everything smoothly. Bam, bam. Fortunately, although Yianwu was relatively lacking in divine power, he had the upper hand when it came to physical fights. He had accumulated achievements step by step as he climbed up the tower with his keyword, fight. Furthermore, he had crafted and honed his own form of martial arts. Additionally, he possessed the various folklores that Kronos had passed on to him through Vigrid, so Yianwu was clearly aware of what a fight between transcendent beings entailed. Open hollow corner bracket left side and then on your right. Open hollow corner bracket, she'll be able to nullify your attacks. Open hollow corner bracket, in that case, form a fog with your formless poison and fall back. Also, with Kronos' advice, Yianwu found it much easier to anticipate Mother Earth's movements. Even though she hadn't been able to inflict serious injuries on Yianwu, Mother Earth was forced to take a step back. Her expression was horribly contorted. Her emotions rose and powerful waves of her considerable holy power burst out, twisting space. She seemed to have realized why she couldn't catch Yianwu. Open hollow corner bracket, from father to son 3 generations shackled me. Even now. Yianwu felt Vigrid separate into several pieces that reassembled into the shape of a human. Kronos suddenly appeared next to Yianwu with his arms crossed. He looked at Mother Earth sharply, but there was a bitter sadness in his air. Open hollow corner bracket, Gaia. Mother Earth was maddened, and she cried out, open hollow corner bracket, despicable thing. Do you think I birthed you so you could do this to me? Bastard child. Has not only reconciled with the father he hated so much, he has also chosen to stand on the battlefield together with his father. Is so dreamy. Hell was ecstatic to see Yianwu and Kronos, who had completed his manifestation, facing off against Mother Earth's incarnation. Hell was drooling just like someone who'd just woken up from sleep. Open hollow corner bracket, he. All the inhabitants of the heavenly world who knew the proud and aloof youngest princess of Niflheim would have been surprised by her appearance. Open hollow corner bracket hell. What are you doing? Can't you see everyone giving their all right now? Jormungandr's face contorted when he saw his youngest sibling's expression. He was almost out of his mind trying to contend with all the enemies rushing at him, and his youngest sister was thoroughly distracted and not helping as he'd expected. Masses of cells had dropped off Mother Earth's true body, moving and dividing. As the cells wriggled, they began laying eggs that hatched out monsters with all kinds of bizarre forms. It was one of the powers Mother Earth had always possessed: reproduction. Mother Earth had given birth to many of the supreme gods who made up the heavenly world, and it could be said that she bore outstanding creatures. In fact, most of the beings she bore didn't have the intelligence or the right form. Since she didn't have an ego, Mother Earth's thoughts were chaotic, and she only gave birth instinctively. Most of her offspring were destroyed or consumed depending on their urges. The monsters she was producing now were just like that, and in fact, their mindless desire to destroy and consume was more intense. Since she had absorbed many nutrients from the world tree, she produced more monsters than ever, and they were even more dangerous. Yi and Wu's troops fought together, but it didn't seem like there would be an end unless the being laying the eggs was eliminated. Open hollow corner bracket second brother. Open hollow corner bracket what? Open hollow corner bracket is it all right for a lowly person like me to be with someone like that? Hash hash hash. S aura is so majestic, would I be sullying his aura if I close hollow corner bracket? Open hollow corner bracket, what nonsense are you blabbering on about? Jormungandr finally had enough of his youngest sister and screamed. However, this had no effect on Hell. Open hollow corner bracket, but if I help him here, hash 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 will recognize and praise me with his unique deep but boyish and sincere voice. If that happens, then Hell might die from happiness. Slurp. Jormungandr was lost for words as he watched Hell wipe the drool from her lips. Then, she suddenly turned her head as if an idea had come to her mind. Bark. Fenrir was sprinting through the air and slaying the monsters, looking very dignified. Jormungandr did not miss the fact that Fenrir was doing a great job, but he noticed that Fenrir would occasionally glance at Yi and Wu like a puppy hoping for praise. However, Yi and Wu did not pay any attention to Fenrir, so Fenrir's tail drooped slightly. Jormungandr started wondering why Fenrir, who could speak properly if he chose to, still limited himself to using barking sounds. Open hollow corner bracket father. With a serious expression, Jormungandr called aloud to his father in the sky. Loki, the head of less than Niflheim greater than, turns his gaze from the battlefield to his second son. The head of less than Niflheim greater than, Loki asks what his second son wants. Open hollow corner bracket, is it really okay to continue like this? Loki laughs bitterly. Loki states that nothing can be done and sighs deeply. Fortunately, his father seemed to share his concern. Wait, come to think of it, didn't father cause a tremendous number of scandals in the past because he changed his gender so freely? Perhaps this problem ran deeper than just Fenrir and Hel. Perhaps it was a chronic problem that ran throughout the entirety of Niflheim. When this thought occurred to him, Jormungandr felt depressed. Open hollow corner bracket, why do you think I gave birth to you? Mother Earth suddenly posed a question to Kronos. Kronos did not immediately respond. Yi and Wu had no choice but to look at the pensive Kronos worriedly. Does this have something to do with my father's legend of when he first met Uranus, my grandfather? Yi and Wu knew that Kronos was Mother Earth's child. Yi and Wu knew this because of what Uranus had said in the legends he'd seen. Gaia, that brazen Mother Earth who birthed you, is sending monstrous creatures to take over our positions. And that isn't the end of it. However, it seemed that Kronos' complicated feelings for Mother Earth were much more serious than Yi and Wu had previously believed. In fact, when he thought about it, Yi and Wu realized that there had been signs all along. Kronos had yet to say a word about his other family members other than Uranus. Furthermore, Yi and Wu had only learned about the parts of Kronos' legend that occurred after Kronos became Uranus's youngest son. At the time, Yi and Wu was mostly focused on not being overwhelmed by the legend, so he hadn't wondered why the legend started at that point. However, if Yi and Wu wanted to truly understand the depths of Kronos' legends, he would have to start from Kronos' childhood days. However, that did not happen. Perhaps unconsciously, Kronos refused to acknowledge those earlier memories. The records of Kronos' childhood have been unlocked from his legends. Rumble. Yi and Wu saw a dream-like scene unfold after a flash of pure white light. Mom, Mom, a child cried out among the countless monsters who possessed neither egos nor the ability to think. Yes. Very alluring. Mouthwatering. That body of yours. You have it. What the Black King would like. Although Mother Earth wasn't sure how she managed to give birth to Kronos, she was overjoyed and consumed with the thought of exploiting this mutant offspring. Kronos' mind grew more exhausted day by day, and he soon began to do things robotically. Mommy's coming soon. Soon. After quarreling with many gods, Mother Earth had suddenly left without a word. Kronos waited patiently for her return, unaware that he had been abandoned among the piles of rotting monster corpses. He waited endlessly, standing in the midst of the decaying stench and wriggling maggots. Why is a child in a place like this? This won't do. It looks like you haven't been able to eat properly. I can't allow this to continue. Come with me. Uranus had been the one to discover Kronos. Kronos had grown thin, and Uranus extended a helping hand with a concerned expression. Uncle, who are you? My mom told me not to follow people I don't know. From now on, I'll be your father. Daddy. Boom. The dreamlike scene shattered and disappeared, and Yian-Wu returned to reality to see Kronos staring at him with a twisted expression. Open hollow corner bracket. You didn't see anything, right? Yian-Wu did not answer right away and only smiled slightly. Dad, die. Open hollow corner bracket. You bastard. Close hollow corner bracket. Uncle, who are you? Open hollow corner bracket. Hey. Stop. My mother told me not to follow people I don't know. Open hollow corner bracket. Do you want to die? Then, keep it up. Mommy will be here soon. Yian-Wu pretended to tremble as if he were the young Kronos. Kronos exploded. Open hollow corner bracket. Come here, you bastard. Yian-Wu quickly turned away to avoid Kronos. Kronos had turned into Vigrid and flew through the air towards his forehead. Trying to kill your own kin. Open hollow corner bracket. Have you heard about a boy who devoured his father's body? This is nothing. Kronos bobbed up and down as if he would tear his son's throat out the first chance he got. Kronos was furious that his dark history had been revealed. Whoosh. But Dad, open hollow corner bracket. What, bastard? Did you know that according to the tower's system, you're one of my familiars? Yian-Wu hurriedly pulled his black chains. Then, Vigrid, which was attacking Yian-Wu just a moment ago, landed snugly into Yian-Wu's left hand. Rumble, rumble, open hollow corner bracket. Arg. You despicable bastard. Vigrid trembled wildly and struggled to get out of Yian-Wu's grip. However, no matter what Kronos tried, he could not harm Yian-Wu since he was designated as Yian-Wu's familiar. In the end, Kronos calmed down after tiring himself out, although the sound of his teeth grinding rose up, as if his anger had not completely receded. Open hollow corner bracket. This bastard is really. Have you calmed down? Open hollow corner bracket. Do you think I've calmed down? I think you've calmed down enough. Open hollow corner bracket. Damn bastard. You just have to get the last word in all the time, huh? Kronos grumbled in annoyance. He then spoke in a serious tone. Open hollow corner bracket. Did you think the past would blind me? Yian-Wu did not respond, and Kronos sighed. Open hollow corner bracket. Mark my words. No matter how far this father of yours has fallen, how could I consider that monster, who ate my precious youngest son, my mother? Vigrid's tip turned to point at Mother Earth. Open hollow corner bracket. Giving birth to a child doesn't automatically make one a parent. You have to embrace your offspring to do that. The spring of death has been activated. Open hollow corner bracket. So close hollow corner bracket. Ring. Vigrid made a clear sound. Open hollow corner bracket. Kill that bitch. This answer was enough for Yian-Wu, and he felt as though he'd achieved a new synergy. It was a completely different feeling from when he had combined with the demonism. At that time, Yian-Wu's consciousness had expanded infinitely, but he felt like something outside himself was dragging him around. However, this time, even though he felt his consciousness expanding as well, Yian-Wu was fully in control. He felt like something warm was embracing him and something reassuring was watching his back and supporting him. Thanks to this, Yian-Wu managed to begin the fight with a steady mind. He completely digested all of Kronos' legends and circulated them through his body. You have completely absorbed Kronos' legends. The spring of death has quickened. Vigrid's powers have grown clearer. Bam! Yian-Wu once again appeared in front of Mother Earth and swung Vigrid fiercely. His sword strike was more powerful and intense than it had ever been before. A pillar of sword thunder formed between the sky and the earth. Yian-Wu successively shot out 5 sword thunders as he used the 5th extreme of sword thunder, the level that the Monkey King's Exuvi had reached with considerable difficulty. Open hollow corner bracket. How can you treat your mother like this? No wonder you've become what you are. As if she had been expecting the attack, Mother Earth stretched her hand out as she snorted. She applied illusory change, and the incoming sword thunder bounced off and hit the ground harmlessly. Open hollow corner bracket what I've become. Why, what's wrong with my current state, mother? Open hollow corner bracket are you asking because you truly don't know? You were once the king of gods. Now, you've turned into an insignificant sword that your son is swinging around. Open hollow corner bracket sorry, but close hollow corner bracket Kronos snorted as he looked at the indignant expression on Mother Earth's face. Open hollow corner bracket I'm happier now. I can protect my son rather than run around like a madman. What are you going to do about it? Vigrid exploded once again. It was the 6th extreme, a level of sword thunder that Yi and Wu had never achieved before. Whoosh! Mother Earth's severed wings flew into the air. Open hollow corner bracket wow, mother, your blood is red after all. I thought it was green all this time. Kronos smiled coolly. Mother Earth could not reply to Kronos' taunt, and she looked at her severed wings with a grim expression. Open hollow corner bracket how could this be close hollow corner bracket she could not believe what had happened. Her illusory change had failed her. She should have been able to deflect the attack or send it rebounding back to Yi and Wu, but that didn't happen at all. Open hollow corner bracket why are you so surprised, mother? Kronos' voice rang out from Vigrid. Open hollow corner bracket since you've taken your grandson as your apostle, you should accept his adorable behavior. Open hollow corner bracket ack. Only then did Mother Earth realize what method Yi and Wu had used. He was currently her apostle, even though Mother Earth did not want this connection. This meant that they were linked by a channel, and Yi and Wu used it to enter Mother Earth's idea and interfere with her consciousness. One's consciousness created illusory change, and if one's apostle influenced one's consciousness, the illusory change could malfunction. The effects of the illusory change could be nullified even before they'd taken effect. However, although this seemed simple to do, Mother Earth was a conceptual god and she excelled in applying and controlling her consciousness, she was superior at it than any other being. However, even though she was a lofty and accomplished being, she had fallen for this simple trick. Could this truly be done through the channel? Open hollow corner bracket mother, your grandson is pretty wily and cunning, isn't he? He's used his little brain all this time and accomplished pretty great things with his limited skill level, didn't you think he could easily interfere with your consciousness? Of course, a large part of it is thanks to his tremendously accomplished and great father's support. Ha ha ha. Open hollow corner bracket are you really acting as his subordinate? Although her insides boiled at Kronos' tongue-in-cheek attitude, Mother Earth's disbelief was even greater as she stared at Kronos, who was acting like Yi and Wu's backup. Kronos was expanding Yi and Wu's illusory change and funneling all his magic power and legends into Yi and Wu, just as the demonism had once done. However, while the demonism was helping Yi and Wu in order to take him over one day, Kronos was supporting Yi and Wu unconditionally. This was only possible because they were father and son, and Kronos had already sacrificed a lot for his 2 sons. This was a large shock to Mother Earth. He had been a being that had reached the pinnacle of all godly beings and pridefully ruled over the entire universe. He had been filled with vengeful thoughts after falling into Tartarus, and now, Kronos was showing an unexpectedly tender and warm side. What was so special about the relationship between father and son? Yi and Wu and Kronos had had an awkward relationship in the past and didn't see eye to eye until recently. How could they trust each other so easily and unconditionally? Open hollow corner bracket didn't I already say it once, mother? Kronos said with a smile. Open hollow corner bracket I'm happier now than ever. Especially now that I can protect my son. Whoosh! Yi and Wu made his move. Surprised, Mother Earth retreated a few steps back. Open hollow corner bracket you've created so many offspring, yet you've never felt love for any of them. How could you understand what I'm feeling? Can you even understand the concept? Haven't you only seen your creations as things to use for your own benefit? Mother Earth couldn't retreat too far. With her wings cut off, she could not move through space freely, and Yi and Wu immediately appeared in front of her, swinging Vigrid. Open hollow corner bracket I'm not that different from you, so it's a little weird for me to say this, but giving birth to a child doesn't automatically make one a parent. Mother Earth turned her head away. The light from Sword Thunder had left a deep wound on her left cheek. Black chains shot out of pockets of emptiness, which opened around her. Open hollow corner bracket you have to give your offspring love, attention, and respect. What have you done instead? Crunch. Open hollow corner bracket you have only ever focused on your desires. If you couldn't achieve something on your own, you wanted to live vicariously through your offspring. It's always about you. In a panic, Mother Earth tried to brush off the chains, but the chains bound her more tightly. Only now did she realize what Yi and Wu's plan was: God sealing. Yi and Wu was planning to wrap her in chains and imprison her inside the emptiness. Open hollow corner bracket. Instead of love, you gave orders. Instead of attention, you gave pressure. Instead of respect, you only had disregard. You can't honestly say that you've loved anyone, right? You've only ever abused. It was impossible to kill a conceptual being like Mother Earth, nor was it possible to apply the concept of death that Kronos was an expert on. In the past, even when Mother Earth lost out to the other gods, she could always get back up. Hence, Yi and Wu decided to place Mother Earth deep within the recesses of emptiness so that she would be imprisoned. She would never return. Once, Mother Earth would have scoffed at this attempt. However, Yi and Wu had the ability to make it happen. The chains that restricted and imprisoned even the Black King could easily imprison a conceptual god like Mother Earth, who had been formed of the same bits and pieces at the creation of the universe. Open hollow corner bracket. Do you know what happens after that? Mother Earth avoided Yi and Wu's oncoming attacks as she tried utilizing her illusory change. However, each time she tried to use illusory change, it malfunctioned. She started seething in frustration, feeling extremely tense. Everything was getting on her nerves, especially that loudmouth Kronos. Open hollow corner bracket. You only leave behind regret and seething hatred. However, as if he knew what Mother Earth was feeling, Kronos continued. Open hollow corner bracket. Think back on all the offspring you've birthed. Why did they turn away from you and even go as far as band together to swing their weapons at you? She couldn't see an end to the attacks. Open hollow corner bracket. Mother, you must have been thoroughly clueless. For you, those offspring were just thoughtless and ungrateful perpetrators while you saw yourself as the wounded, innocent victim. Mother Earth clashed with Yi and Wu once more, and her illusory change malfunctioned yet again. She now had a new wound on her side that bled freely, and the chains had wrapped around her neck by now. Even though she was in a precious situation, Mother Earth would not succumb to the attacks quietly. Bam! Mother Earth's hand ripped into Yi and Wu's chest. Open hollow corner bracket. Thus close hollow corner bracket. Kronos continued speaking as if nothing had happened. Open hollow corner bracket. You'll never understand. Ever. Even if you died, you wouldn't think any differently. Mother Earth frowned deeply as Yi and Wu's universal recovery skill rapidly healed the gash on his chest. Open hollow corner bracket. Such a pitiful mother. Yi and Wu relentlessly attacked Mother Earth. Whenever flashes of sword thunder rose, new injuries, large and small, started appearing all over Mother Earth's true body, and more chains wrapped around her. However, the damage that Yi and Wu was suffering from Mother Earth was increasing. His left arm had been cut off and his heart had been damaged to the brink of crumbling. However, Yi and Wu did not even bat an eye as he continued to attack. He was willing to sacrifice his arm to wrap another chain around Mother Earth. After all, his arm would grow back anyway. He had many methods to attack Mother Earth. He could restrict her powers through the channel and attack the vulnerable points that Viera had revealed. Kronos legends have been completely assimilated. A countless number of heroic achievements have been carved into your spirit. The heroic achievements sing in celebration of you. As the spring of death wound more quickly, Yi and Wu felt the assimilation process accelerate. It was as if Yi and Wu and his father were peacefully walking through a forest, hand in hand. Bam! Vigrid pierced Mother Earth's abdomen. Open hollow corner bracket. No. Open hollow corner bracket. Stabbing my mother isn't really a great feeling. I feel slightly disgusted and immoral. Can you do something about this, son? If you don't like it, can't you just change your shape? Open hollow corner bracket. Inconsiderate bastard. I'm wondering if it was worth birthing such an inconsiderate son. Close hollow corner bracket. Mother was the one who gave birth to me, not you. Despite Mother Earth's furious and menacing expressions, Yi and Wu continued to chat with Kronos without any care. However, Yi and Wu's eyes were focused as he continued to pierce Mother Earth's true body. The strength of the channel he shared with Mother Earth was becoming weaker. Clank! As if in response to this weakening signal, another chain shot out of the emptiness through Mother Earth's back, piercing through the area close to where the soulstone was located. Yi and Wu felt the chain snag onto something, just like a fishing line hooking a fish. The chain had wrapped around the soulstone, and it seemed like Yi and Wu would rip the soulstone out of Mother Earth's body. The only reason why Mother Earth could act and think logically was the soulstone, which acted as her central processing center and organized her thoughts and consciousness. If the soulstone were taken out of the equation, Yi and Wu was certain that Mother Earth would revert to her original self, an undeveloped consciousness with hardly any concrete thoughts or actions. She would enter a vegetative state with desire but no means to act on it. This was probably the ideal state if Yian-Wu wanted to lock her away in emptiness. As if she read Yian-Wu's thoughts, Mother Earth lashed out wildly and grabbed Yian-Wu by the neck. She strengthened her grip to twist his neck, but the more she tried, the deeper vigor embedded itself within her. Both sides were now at a standstill. However, at this moment, the chain that had entered Mother Earth's body began to tear out the soul stone. Hades' spirit-eating sword has been activated. Your sin stone, Superbiagula, has located the soul stone, Luxuria. It is attempting to devour the soul stone. Your sin stone, Superbiagula, has sensed the soul stone, Luxuria. It is attempting to devour the soul stone. The soul stone, Luxuria, is resisting your sin stone, Superbiagula. Your sin stone is attempting to overwhelm it. The philosopher's stone was trying to devour the stone of Luxuria through Hades' spirit-eating sword. The two stones inside the philosopher's stone shook and resonated with each other, causing a magic power connection to form between them. The two stones tried to use this connection to pull out the magic power that resided within the stone of Luxuria. Open hollow corner bracket. Do you think I will lose so easily? Mother Earth suddenly opened her mouth so widely that the corners of her lips tore up to her ears. She let out a loud shriek. Ah! Thump, thump. Yian-Wu's dragon heart started beating wildly. His blood started circulating at a dizzying pace. His magic power went wild, unable to contain the accelerated circulation of blood. Open hollow corner bracket. No. Yian-Wu tried to regain control of his exploding magic power, but the abnormal status had already taken over. Kronos' voice had also been cut off. Yian-Wu belatedly realized what was going on, the same thing that had driven the immortal Uranus to his death and allowed the demonism to control Kronos. It was Mother Earth's final card. Yian-Wu could feel how dangerous the situation had become. Gaia's curse is encroaching on you. The many legends that you devoured are being called up by Gaia's curse. The legends are starting to move. Many legends are mobilizing after receiving Mother Earth's call for assistance. Typhon's legend is responding to the call. Cisseus' legend is responding to the call. Persephone's legend is responding to the call. Due to unknown reasons, Hades' buried legend is reacting. The young Persephone began to follow Hades. During this time, Demeter noticed the situation developing and paid a visit. Open hollow corner bracket. Shall we conduct a public debate regarding what you've done? I'm fine with being thrown back into Tartarus, but you won't be able to show your face in public again, right? At Hades' cold words, Demeter could no longer protest, so she had stepped aside. The young Persephone had received a great shock from this exchange. It was the first time she had seen her mother so powerless, and she felt as though her world were collapsing around her since Demeter had been everything to her up to that point. During her first visit to Tartarus, young Persephone learned for the first time in her life what freedom truly was. She no longer had to be confined in her narrow room. Instead of sleeping in a glass chamber, she had a soft bed. It was also the first time she could freely talk to others and enjoy their company. Previously, she had always taken care of everything, but here, many people took care of her. The meals were delicious, the sky was beautiful, and the sunsets were picturesque. The air was cool, and the feeling of the ground was pleasant. Everything in the world was mysterious and interesting. However, at some point, she realized that there was a larger world outside the confines of Tartarus. Was it because of that? At some point, Persephone became bored with everything in Tartarus. Once upon a time, these things had been so beautiful and mysterious, now they were dull and gloomy. She felt that she had returned to the prison that she had been locked away in as a young child. Nothing seemed to have changed. In fact, Tartarus was an actual prison, one that held many prisoners. The people whom she had thought so kind were just subordinates loyal to Hades. Persephone started yearning to escape from the stuffy Tartarus. The sky, the sea, the grasslands, the desert, the forest, the stars, the moon, the things that existed in the outside world that the lamb had told her about, Persephone wanted to see these places with her own eyes. However, Tartarus restrictions did not allow her to step outside. At some point, Persephone started wondering, maybe is Hades imprisoning me with lies, just like Mother did? She fell in a downward spiral of suspicion that she didn't even know was growing inside her until it was firmly entrenched in her chest. Open hollow corner bracket. Oh, this poor child stuck in a place like this. You're like a young bluebird trapped in a birdcage being fed lies and deceptions by Olympus. Just as Persephone's suspicions were laying down roots, Mother Earth entered the picture. It was Gaia's curse. Your trait, cold-blooded, has helped you maintain composure. The spring of death is furiously accelerating and enhancing its attributes. The spring of death has been wound past its limit and is starting to overheat. At this rate, the spring may become worn out. Open hollow corner bracket son, how are you? Have you regained consciousness? Yin Wu clung to awareness as Chronos' questions rang in his ears. However, the most Yin Wu could do was force himself to stay awake and assess his current situation. He couldn't even speak or move. He couldn't even have a conversation with Chronos, which was little more than thinking. Chronos himself was having a difficult time suppressing Gaia's curse and keeping it at bay. Yin Wu squinted, his vision blurry and shaking. Mother Earth was smiling. Open hollow corner bracket you're going to die now. Yin Wu didn't know how much time had passed, but he could see that Mother Earth was still wrapped up in chains. Although Mother Earth seemed to be in a precarious situation, and her soulstone could be ripped out of her body at any moment, she was smiling coldly. Her mouth, which was torn at the corners all the way up to her ears, seemed as though it would swallow Yin Wu at any moment. Open hollow corner bracket oh ho. Yes, I may be imprisoned within the emptiness at any moment. I've escaped many hairy situations before, but I probably won't be able to escape the emptiness. However close hollow corner bracket her twisted lips became even more crooked. Open hollow corner bracket you will surely die. Why? Because I'll make sure of it. Like Uranus. Like Chronos. Madness oozed from Mother Earth's eyes. She was determined that she wouldn't suffer alone, and even if Yin Wu ripped the soulstone out of her and imprisoned her forever, she was determined to take him down with her. Gulp. Yin Wu felt something rushing up from inside him. He swallowed it down, but he could taste a fishy flavor that flowed past his tongue and lips. Typhon's legend has risen. He exhibits strong hostility towards player ### who harmed him. Cisseus' legend has arisen. He exhibits strong ill will towards player ### who devoured him. Helios' legend has arisen. He is protesting that player ### should return Chronos to him. Several legends respond to Gaia's curse, and are attempting to disrupt your legend. Their strong grudges are strengthening the curse. Gaia's curse was very simple. It disrupted the equilibrium of its target. It wasn't very effective against ordinary players who had nothing to lose, but there was no deadlier curse for godly beings who had achieved transcendence. Gaia's curse scattered the legends that they had built up. While it could not destroy the legends, the curse caused cracks to form. Since legends couldn't be repaired in a short amount of time, as time passed, the cracks would grow and cause imbalance. And if this persisted, the cracks would cover the entire legend and shatter it. It was a way to force a divine being to fall from grace. The higher one's power, the greater the danger. Even if one's legend did not collapse, one's consciousness would be severely damaged, just as what happened to Uranus. Divine beings who struggled through Gaia's curse lived with terrible, debilitating pain for the rest of their lives like Chronos. The leaders of Olympus that followed them suffered as well since the unstable foundation was passed down from generation to generation. Of course, Mother Earth would also have to contend with the consequences. Since she was using all her will and power to enact Gaia's curse, she would fall into a deep slumber until she fully regained her energy. It was a form of suicide attack. It was for this reason that the gods, whose legends Yin Wu had devoured through killing them, were now awake. At Mother Earth's call, the gods, most of the gigantes who were her children, regained awareness and began to ravage Yin Wu. Yin Wu's legend began to fluctuate. Persephone's legend has risen. Persephone, Mother Earth's previous apostle, also joined in. She was the most outstanding of Mother Earth's followers and the queen of the underworld, which made her the perfect choice to shake Yin Wu's legend. Yin Wu could barely suppress Gaia's curse, which slowly expanded as it tried to invade the world of Yin Wu's consciousness. Typhon's legend welcomes Persephone's legend. Cisseus' legend requests cooperation with Persephone's legend to exact revenge. Open hollow corner bracket my children. Swallow him whole. Take control away from him and free me from these chains. Mother Earth woke many legends as she tried to turn the tables on Yin Wu. Although she wouldn't be able to avoid a long period of hibernation even if she won, at least she could start anew. Moreover, Yin Wu possessed the Sin Stone, which was 2 combined soul stones. If she could take away his Sin Stone, Mother Earth felt that she could shorten her hibernation period. However, unexpectedly, Persephone's legend remains silent. Persephone's legend borrows player ###'s vision to look at Mother Earth. Oddly, Persephone's legend did not immediately obey Mother Earth's request. Even though the legends of the gigantes like Typhon and Cisseus urged her, Persephone's legend did not budge. Open hollow corner bracket daughter, what is wrong? Hurry and kill those wicked beings and free your mother. Mother Earth soon realized that something was off with Persephone. She frowned and screamed. After tracing her history, Persephone's legend wishes to ask Mother Earth something. Persephone's legend asks Mother Earth if she ever loved her. Open hollow corner bracket WH, what are you trying to get at? Typhon's legend is indignant about the nonsensical question. Cisseus' legend declares that the queen has lost her mind and should be overthrown. Persephone's legend has succeeded in suppressing the other legends. Persephone's legend had an opportunity to revisit her past while she was in the process of being devoured. Persephone's legend declares that she was rescued by Mother Earth as a child, became Mother Earth's daughter, and was set free. Persephone's legend states that she has one question after reviewing her past. I always heard that I was free, but have I ever been free as the daughter of Mother Earth? Persephone's legend continues this line of questioning. Isn't it possible that I lived as a puppet rather than a free individual? Maybe it was a mistake to think that Hades made me into a puppet. Persephone's legend continues her line of questioning. All I wanted was to see was the sky, the earth, the forest, and the river, but I've never seen any of them, have I? Persephone's legend continues to ask question after question. Persephone's legend, open hollow corner bracket stop. Stop, Mother Earth screamed as she watched the messages pop up one after the other. Open hollow corner bracket, didn't I already tell you everything you wanted to know? Persephone's legend is holding back all her questions and asks Mother Earth one thing. Mother, did you ever love me? Open hollow corner bracket, of course. Who could love you more than this mother of yours? Your birth mother used you as a puppet and your husband imprisoned you like a bird in a cage. Who opened the door of that birdcage? Mother Earth tried to smile, but she found it difficult to maintain a kind expression with her anger. When Persephone had first met Mother Earth's expression had been benevolent. Persephone's legend is silent for a moment. Persephone's legend poses a different question to Mother Earth. Do you know what my favorite drink is? Open hollow corner bracket WH, what does that? Mother Earth was having trouble maintaining her benevolent expression. Persephone's legend asks Mother Earth a question. What's my favorite color? Persephone's legend asks Mother Earth another question. What constellation do I like to gaze at? Open hollow corner bracket dear. Mother Earth was at a loss but tried not to show it. As she glared at Persephone, Mother Earth said in a sullen tone, open hollow corner bracket dear. Do you have something against your mother? Are you saddened that I couldn't respond to your call for help when this evil child devoured you? It was the same tone that Mother Earth used when she had first visited Persephone. It matched the fantasies of a perfect mother that Persephone had always imagined. Just seeing and hearing Mother Earth's voice warmed Persephone's heart. However, Mother Earth was burning up inside as she tried to keep up the act. All the other gigantes, legends were tied to Persephone's legend, and they couldn't move. This unexpected situation had stopped Gaia's curse, and Mother Earth would not be able to defeat Yenwu if this continued. Mother Earth had to convince Persephone. However, no matter what Mother Earth said or what expression she put on, Persephone's legend did not budge. Open hollow corner bracket that. When Mother Earth was about to say something, Hades' legend slowly raises his head. A legend that had been quiet the entire time now rose. Persephone's legend is startled to see Hades' legend. Hades' legend answers that her favorite drink is flower tea. Hades' legend says that Persephone's favorite color is yellow because it made her think of spring. He says that Persephone gazed at the Orion constellation because she yearned for freedom and passionate love, which the constellation signified. Persephone's legend is silent. Hades' legend looks at Persephone's legend and states, I know everything about you. Persephone's legend remains silent. Persephone's legend speaks while looking at Hades' legend. You're such a foolish person. Persephone's legend quietly crumbles to the ground, bringing down all the legends she is connected to. Persephone's legend and the legends associated with her have shattered and scattered. Gaia's curse has failed. Yenwu could feel the force pressing down on his neck suddenly release, and his breath returned. As the overflowing, chaotic magic power slowly subsided, his blurred vision grew clear. He saw that Mother Earth was in shock. Open hollow corner bracket no, that's absurd. Yenwu quickly took advantage and pulled the chain that he held in his left hand. Clatter. Mother Earth hurriedly turned her head to counter Yenwu, but the chains around her tightened, accompanied by the sound of a pulley turning. Bam! The chains ruthlessly ripped her back and pulled out her soul stone. Yianwu reached out with his left hand to Soulstone. Although he didn't know why things had ended up that way, he was aware that Hades, whom he could consider his older brother, had given him an opportunity. Yianwu would not lose it. Hades' spirit-eating sword is attempting to devour the Soulstone Luxuria. Your Sinstone Superbiagula is trying to merge with the Soulstone Luxuria. Mother Earth violently struggles against the devouring. Soulstone Luxuria struggles against merging with the Sinstone Superbiagula. Open hollow corner bracket no. Not this. Mother Earth struggled until the very end. Gaia's curse has malfunctioned. It is seeking a new target. It has targeted the spellcaster. Gaia's curse has afflicted Mother Earth. Open hollow corner bracket ac. However, it was too late. Sinstone Superbiagula is increasing the efficacy of Hades' spirit-eating sword. Forced combination has succeeded. Sinstone Superbiagula Luxuria is now in possession of 3 qualities. Part of the Sinstone's locked properties have been released. The property, Cardinal Sins, has been released and is taking effect. You are now able to use the property aspects of Cardinal Sins. You are now blessed with the properties of Cardinal Sins. Superbia Pride represents the power to overcome everything. From now on, everything will be within your comprehension, from transcendent beings like gods and demons to mortals like players, from the natural laws of the world to inanimate objects like pebbles that roll on the ground. Eula Gluttony represents the power to devour anything and everything. No matter how much you devour, no matter how much you drink, your hunger and thirst will never be quenched. This drive will become a powerful force and lead you to a higher world. Luxuria Lust represents the desire to be loved by everything. Regardless of your actions, even those who are hostile to you will inevitably be influenced by you. The 3 qualities of cardinal sins have been inscribed on your draconic factors. The 3 qualities of cardinal sins have been inscribed on your demonic factors. The 3 qualities of cardinal sins have been inscribed on your divine factors. The 3 qualities of cardinal sins have been inscribed on your giant factors. Your spirit has reached the stage of full maturity and has reached its limit of growth. For further development, it is recommended to attempt exuviation and transcendence. Failed to change factors. Failed to change physical body structure. All unsuccessful attempts at change have been turned into latent potential. Your maximum magic power output level has increased significantly. As soon as the Sin Stone devoured the Soul Stone Luxuria, new transformations took place. The magic source that flowed within Yi and Wu began to give off a different feeling from before. It was not a big change, like becoming stronger or more violent, but the change brought something that would make the other bow one's head, chill one's soul, and make one fix one's eyes on Yi and Wu without realizing it. Hostile force less than Asgard greater than is reviewing their declaration of war against you. Neutral force less than Diva greater than is astonished. Neutral force less than Dilman greater than is silent. Neutral force less than Gia sect greater than is strongly reacting to your Sin Stone. The godly society less than Malik greater than says that the nature of the cardinal sins is not beneficial to you and advises you not to continue following Lucille's path. The demonic society less than L'Infernal greater than shows a strong interest in the cardinal sins you possess. They look at you with greedy eyes. Open hollow corner bracket. You were already a huge mutant to begin with, but now you've become a true hybrid mutant. Ha ha ha. Kronos found it so entertaining that he laughed out loud. Since he'd lived on Earth for such a long time, Kronos had no idea about the existence of Lucille. However, seeing the terror of the gods and demons, he knew that things were going to get very interesting. It was entertaining for him to see beings that normally acted in such a lofty and pretentious manner to be so shaken up. It was like watching a monkey in a zoo. Kronos wondered what his son had done to agitate so many beings in the heavenly world, but Yi and Wu didn't have time to answer him since Mother Earth was reverting to her true body after losing her soul stone, which had been her central processing system. The core of Mother Earth's incarnation has been eliminated. The true body of Mother Earth has manifested. Mother Earth shrieked, terrified that she was reverting into a conceptual being with an undeveloped consciousness. Her incarnation body immediately collapsed, and in its place, her true body expanded thousands of times in size within an instant and fell to the ground. Thud. The earth quaked. No, cannot be for me. Like this. A rotten stench, as if all the disgusting and wretched things of the entire universe had coalesced into one place, rose up in the air as Mother Earth cried out in dismay. After Gaia's curse was deflected, her spirit had greatly eroded due to the curse's penalty, and she was forced to completely revert to her true body. Her situation worsened since she couldn't take her enemies on, and in the end, Gaia's curse completely overwhelmed the conceptual Mother Earth. Yi and Wu's troops all fell back into the shadows at once, and the troops from Niflheim quickly retreated. Anyone caught up in the stench risked being infected by Gaia's curse. Mother Earth's chagrined thoughts poured out. Her true body, which was still trying to expand, was still tightly restricted by black chains, and she couldn't move at all. A mass of cells tried to stick out in the gap between the chains, but more and more chains quickly wrapped around the gaps one after the other. Open. Holding the chains firmly with his left hand, Yi and Wu grabbed Vigrid with his right hand and slashed the air in front of him. Emptiness greedily opened its jaws, as if it were ready to eat Mother Earth with great enthusiasm. The emptiness began to absorb Mother Earth with a fierce gust of wind. Mother Earth was becoming desperate. She continued to spread the same thoughts as she tried to survive. Yi and Wu's chains grew tighter as they slowly pushed her into the emptiness. However, Mother Earth's true body did not easily enter the emptiness, perhaps because she was so large or because she still had some strength left even after succumbing to Gaia's curse. What a bitch! Even though the members of Niflheim tried to help Yi and Wu, the poison from Gaia's curse was so strong that they could only buff Yi and Wu or attack Mother Earth with ranged attacks. Hades Legend looks at player ###. Hades Legend has come alive. SS is. Open corner bracket oh my. Everyone is working so hard. Suddenly, a shadow that lay in front of Mother Earth rose upwards, and slowly took vague shape, speaking in a deep voice. The shape's intelligent gaze focused on Mother Earth, running its eyes over Mother Earth's true body. A faint sound came from Vigrid once it saw the shape take form. Open hollow corner bracket ha day. Like his father, Yi and Wu's eyes also widened in surprise. Something that shouldn't be in this space had appeared, a face Yi and Wu had wanted to see many times. Hades smiled faintly as he looked at Yi and Wu. Open corner bracket little brother, you shouldn't be using your strength in that way. Hades had a smile on his face. It was an expression he had not shown often even when he was alive, and his happiness was completely different from the attitude that Hades had shown Yi and Wu when he was still alive. Hades did not exhibit any gloominess or darkness at all. Hades slowly drew his sword from the scabbard that hung at his waist and swung it. It was the same action that Yi and Wu had seen in the past when he first entered Tartarus and fought the Titans. Hades had suddenly appeared doing the same movement. Open corner bracket brother, death does not simply mean forcing something to end. It is the power that leads to this underworld, Tartarus. It is the power that leads to the final destination. Hades swung his sword down. Black thunderbolts formed and crashed non-stop from the split space as they cut Mother Earth's true body into chunks. Open corner bracket there's a large difference between forcing death on someone and leading one to death. Bang, 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 bam, if this continues. As Mother Earth's true body was cut up into chunks, the emptiness began to suck her in at a rapid pace. Whenever she clung to the ground, Hades struck the ground and made it crumble. Whenever she grabbed space, Hades struck it and made it shatter. The relentless attacks made it impossible for Mother Earth to hang on to anything. Hades' offensive attacks were much more intense than those of the demons of Niflheim, and he aimed them at Mother Earth's weak points. In the end, Mother Earth shook before she was sucked through a whirlpool into emptiness, like water draining into a sewer. It was an amusing sight. Once Mother Earth was completely trapped in the emptiness, Yi and Wu sealed the emptiness. Thud, thud, the entire space shook as Mother Earth trembled and struggled to escape from the depths of the emptiness. Boom, there was utter silence when the opening closed, imprisoning Mother Earth. However, Yi and Wu's troops and the forces of Niflheim silently awaited Mother Earth's possible, last-minute reappearance with bated breath. Open hollow corner bracket she's not coming out. Jormungandr's murmur completely broke the silence. Open hollow corner bracket is it really over? Open hollow corner bracket Mother Earth is trapped. Open hollow corner bracket ha. Ha ha ha. Everyone who took part in the fight burst into laughter. Mother Earth has been sealed. Hostile force less than Olympus greater than has lost all its leaders. Hostile force less than Olympus greater than has fallen into chaos. Hostile force less than Asgard greater than has declared their retreat from Tartarus. The Allies have won and seized Tartarus. The incoming messages declared the complete collapse of Mother Earth and the defeat of the hostile forces. Neutral force less than Diva greater than is silent regarding the outcome of the battle for Tartarus. Neutral force less than Dilmun greater than foretells new possibilities regarding the conquest of Tartarus. The godly society less than Malik greater than sends a congratulatory message. The demonic society less than l'infernal greater than is observing your trajectory while also observing the movements of less than East demon army greater than. Many divine beings are greatly upset at the outcome. They are concerned that a new Lucille might appear and are hostile towards you. Most of the demons declare that they've watched a very interesting game and want to give a significant amount of the laws of causality to the allies. Vimalasitra is engulfed in a strong fighting spirit after seeing your victory. He is thinking deeply about the things he can do to hasten meeting you. Cernunnos closely observes his apostle for any injuries. Finished. Now that the problems with Olympus, which had tormented him for a long time, were finally laid to rest, Yianwu felt the power draining from his body. To get to this moment, Yianwu had had to fight many battles, overcome many obstacles, and wade through a plethora of difficulties. Of course, he still had a lot of work left to do, but he strongly felt that he had passed the crest of a wave. If he continued down the path that unfolded in front of him, Yianwu would eventually reach his destination. Older brother. With his tension rapidly releasing, Yianwu turned to Hades while trying to maintain his composure. Hades looked at Yianwu and smiled, not a casual one, but a deep and sincere smile. It felt strange to him to be called an older brother, but it wasn't a bad thing at all. In fact, it was so sweet that the word, brother, lingered in his mouth as Hades echoed what Yianwu called him. I was the first to call you, brother, but hearing it from you makes it all the more refreshing. I believed that you'd do well, unlike a good-for-nothing like me. However, I didn't think you'd do this well. Thank you. Why did Hades' compliment make Yianwu's heart race so much? Hades looked proudly at Yianwu then turned his gaze slightly upwards. Are you happy? Hades' question was not directed at Yianwu. Cling, cling. Vigrid broke into small pieces and then took on a human form. Kronos smiled as he looked at his eldest son, the ugly images of his past as an absent father who did not provide his son with love flashing through his mind. Still, Kronos slowly nodded. Of course, I'm happy. I'm glad to see that you are. Hades nodded in agreement. Hades' eyes seemed to possess no resentment or regret about the past. Hades had seen and felt through Yianwu throughout this time and had observed Kronos' life and his efforts to protect his children. Second sister hasn't changed. She's the same now as she was before. She has always waited for father's return. It's been like this ever since father left. Please don't be upset or harsh with them once you meet them. Second sister has gone through the worst hardship and is the most pitiful one among us. I understand. I'll keep that in mind. Hades was referring to Demeter, who might have been the starting point of all the events related to Mother Earth. Preparing to speak further about the other siblings, Hades laughed and shook his head. Let's end it here. My youngest sibling will take care of the rest. You're speaking like I'll never see you again. When Kronos' voice became gloomy, Yianwu stepped forward. If possible, please take charge of Tartarus once again. No. That place is no longer mine. It's your place. Also, as I mentioned before Hades continued to speak calmly while facing Kronos, who was still looking at him somberly. I'd like to take a rest now. For such a long time I've been tired. Kronos understood the mental and emotional burden that Hades must have borne during his absence. Hades' 3 older sisters had been in a perpetual state of despair, and Hades' younger brothers ran wild in different ways. Nevertheless, Hades had decided to come down to Tartarus and bear the responsibility of watching over the imprisoned criminals. Hades had carried the burden of his parents and brothers by himself. The tight chains of responsibility were exhausting, and even in the state of death, Hades hadn't given them up. What is there to regret? I rather feel like I'm putting my responsibility onto another, but Hades looked at Yianwu with a slightly mischievous look before he continued speaking to Kronos. Since we have such an outstanding youngest child in our family, please accept this son's shortcomings. Father. Father. Why did this word feel so heavy? Kronos could not say anything further as something in his chest tightened. Thus, after all this, Yianwu could no longer hold on to Hades. Bam! The law of causality has exceeded the permitted range. Hades, legend is fading. Hades bowed his head to his father and brother as his legend broke into tiny pieces. Youngest, stay strong and be well. Father, please take good care of our youngest and my other siblings. Kronos nodded his head heavily. Hades smiled contentedly as he turned around slowly, like a man who was preparing to go off on a long journey somewhere. And with that, Hades disappeared completely from the world after leaving his last farewell. Hades' legend is perishing. The throne of death has been fully assimilated with the spring of death. In a world where nothing existed, where it was as white as a blank canvas, Persephone looked around carefully as if she were looking for something. Then, she turned back with a bitter smile. She knew how ridiculous her actions were, but still she wanted to see him one last time, even from a distance. Persephone knew she was a sinner, and she knew it was too late to ask for forgiveness. She was about to quietly retreat, but then, have you been waiting long? There was a voice behind her. Persephone turned with startled eyes. Hades was looking at her with a smile on his face. How? I told you. I know everything about you. Hades' smile grew wider. As soon as Persephone saw her husband, the guilt that she felt reared its head even higher. Without realizing it, she took a few steps back. As if he were wondering where she was planning to run off to, Hades approached Persephone and grabbed her hand. Persephone's eyes widened even more. Hades smiled warmly, like the warm floral tea she loved so much, like the yellow rays of spring sunshine she loved so much, like the passionate constellation Orion, which she cherished the most. Let's forget the past. Haven't you heard that fighting between couples is meaningless? I've been insensitive, so I haven't been able to touch your heart. Let's start anew and do the best we can from now on. Hades looked lovingly at Persephone and slowly knelt on one knee. Therefore. Hades gently took Persephone's left hand and placed a yellow flower ring that he had prepared on her ring finger. Will you marry this good-for-nothing once more, Persephone? It was a proposal. It was her first proposal. Their marriage had been done in haste, and they hadn't gone through the proper procedures. Now, things were different, and everything was being done in the right order. Persephone looked at her flower ring for a long time with wide eyes, and then she silently hugged Hades. I will. Hades felt Persephone nod her head. He slowly got up and took her hand, and they started walking together. They did not know what was at the end of this world, but whatever it was, as long as they were with each other, somewhere, anywhere, they would be happy. They both believed it. With this thought, the two smiled happily as they looked at each other's hands and slowly disappeared beyond the white world. As he watched Hades scatter into the light, Yi Wu suddenly wondered, how did Hades manage to appear? Yi Wu had often thought about using the summon of the dead skill to call up Hades, but he didn't want any unforeseen consequences to affect the achievements of the Throne of Death's legend, which used Hades as a foundation. Moreover, Hades had had such a difficult life, and Yi Wu did not want to burden him any further. Although Gaia's curse would have negatively affected Hades' legend, Yi Wu found it difficult to manifest Hades' legend anyway. However, Hades managed to manifest his legend himself and even helped Yi Wu imprison Mother Earth. Yi Wu hadn't just imagined it because Kronos had also seen Hades. Or is it because of this? Yi Wu turned his eyes to the World Tree, which stood majestically. The World Tree was the other side of the world, the central axis of ideas, and the pillar of the reincarnation cycle. Although Mother Earth had infected it, and it had lost huge chunks of itself, it was still immense. Yi Wu did not know why Mother Earth had switched from targeting Black King to the World Tree instead. However, it suddenly crossed Yi Wu's mind that the tree, which was as mysterious as the Changgong Library, might have played a crucial part in awakening Hades' legend. Regardless of Yi Wu's gaze, the World Tree's leaves continued to gently sway in the breeze. Yi Wu stood and looked at the World Tree for a long time before turning around. Once he returned to Tartarus, Valdebec and the ghost giants bowed their heads respectfully to their master and leader. We've been waiting for you. The two dragons sat on the edge of a nearby cliff and looked in Yi Wu's direction, but they remained vigilant. The same was true of the Legion of Death, which included Shannon and Hanryong. The members of Dis Pluto had expressions full of pride since they had managed to take back their hometown. The atmosphere of excitement in the air did not seem like it would subside anytime soon. However, in front of the Chan sect and East Demon Army. If you really think about it, we're on the same side. You guys oppose the Gigantes, just like we do, right? Yeah. Also, we've just made up our minds. If you want, you can be our king and we Titans will serve you. Trash. If you hadn't betrayed us from the start, we wouldn't have gone through this in the first place. Open hollow corner bracket shut up. When did you ever consider us allies? Open hollow corner bracket you. The chaotic scene was like the bickering at a bazaar. It was ridiculous to see the Titans and Gigantes arguing with each other while they were in chains. Erlang Shen, Prince Nezha, and Agaras laughed at the ridiculousness of the scene. Open hollow corner bracket it's a little funny to think how those things had dominated the heavenly world for so long. I don't think we even need to watch over them anymore. Jormungandr, who had descended to Tartarus with Fenrir, clucked his tongue and looked at Yi and Wu. Open hollow corner bracket our eldest made the decision unilaterally, but you do understand that our society, like the Chan sect, didn't form an alliance with you out of the goodness of our hearts, right? Of course. When Yi and Wu calmly nodded, Jormungandr smiled as if he thought highly of Yi and Wu. Open hollow corner bracket good. You're not like the mortals who have nothing much to offer but feel entitled to everything, or like the transcendent beings who put their honor and glory above all else. You're rational and know how to make a deal. In any case, I don't think my view of you is wrong, so let's settle our debts at a later time. Yi and Wu understood that Jormungandr meant that they would settle things after he stabilized Tartarus, advanced into Erebus, and recaptured Olympus. This meant that Jormungandr did not plan to handcuff Yi and Wu or hold his time hostage by haggling for better terms. Jormungandr's consideration gave Yi and Wu no choice but to express his gratitude. Open hollow corner bracket then, Niflheim shall return back to the heavenly world. Jormungandr confirmed that Yi and Wu understood what he was saying and slowly turned around. Hel reacted as if she had been struck by lightning. Open hollow corner bracket second brother. What's the meaning of this? I haven't even said my greetings to ### yet. I have to get his autograph, shake his hand, establish a personal channel, take pictures, and, if possible, get a hug, and an open hollow corner bracket shut up. You're the main reason we're going back now. We're returning. End of story. Open hollow corner bracket no. Wait, just 5 more minutes. No, 3 more minutes. Just a minute. If I can't get an autograph, then just a handshake at least or just a strand of hair eek. Jormungandr swallowed Hel, then opened a portal and disappeared into the heavenly world. The Niflheim members who had accompanied Jormungandr smiled awkwardly. Bark, bark. Fenrir, the only one of the siblings left, swung his big head from side to side as if he were unsatisfied with being associated with his siblings. To Erlang Shen's and Prince Nezha's eyes, Fenrir's behavior was no different from that of Hel, and flabbergasted expressions appeared on their faces. Fenrir didn't care and simply stood next to Agaras. Open hollow corner bracket what will you do with us now? As the representative of the Titans, Selene knelt in front and looked at Yi and Wu carefully, her eyes shaking. Now that Yi and Wu had gotten the upper hand in the war, and their path to Olympus was blocked, the Titans' fate was in Yi and Wu's hands. She wanted to persuade Yi and Wu, certain that he was furious with them. She hoped that she could convince him to be a little more lenient, even if he imprisoned her in Tartarus again. Now that we don't have a mother or brother, we have no way to overcome this situation. It's better for us to bow again and wait for the next opportunity, no matter when it may come. They had found a chance after being imprisoned in Tartarus for thousands of years, why couldn't that happen again? Selene had no doubt that a chance would appear if they waited long enough. However, this was the worst-case scenario for them, and if Yi and Wu wanted anything from them, she and the other Titans would offer it up to him without any qualms if they could get out of the damned Tartarus. Open hollow corner bracket you are the successor of Hades, and you also wore the Kronos crown before that ND Kronos was the great king of the Titans. Thus, you are our new king. I mean, if your majesty wishes, I, Selene, and the other Titans will worship you as our king and dutifully follow you. Selene and the Titans had been disconnected from Olympus, so they didn't have the most recent news of Yi and Wu's identity. However, since they knew Yi and Wu had passed Kronos' test, they were offering their servitude to him. Kronos, who had returned to his vigrid form, watched everything with amusement. Open hollow corner bracket ha ha ha. Even when I rose to the throne, these good-for-nothings always waited for a chance to blindside me and stab me in the back. It's pretty funny to hear them still talking nonsense. They're taking you for a fool, son. What are you going to do about it? Kronos was implying that Titans did not have anyone else to backstab, so they were now begging his son, who possessed a sparkling and beautiful personality. Yi and Wu let Kronos' words go in one ear and out the next as he looked at the Gigantes. The Titans were offering to make him their king. If they became his allies and Yi and Wu could add them to his forces, he would be able to not only recapture Olympus but also form one of the largest and most powerful societies in the heavenly world. Yi and Wu wondered what the Gigantes would say in response. Would they resist like the deceased Typhon, Persephone, and Mother Earth? Or would they surrender? The Gigantes looked at each other since they no longer had a leader who could represent them. Just moments ago, they had behaved as though they would fight until the bitter end. However, now that the situation had changed, they knew that they did not want to die or be imprisoned. If they begged for their lives, they would always be seen as traitors by others, considering their history of betrayal. Thus, they could not react right away. Still, they really did not want to die, so a relatively quick-witted Gigante spoke up. Open hollow corner bracket. We shall also serve close hollow corner bracket. Save your breath. I've already decided what to do with you guys. I was just giving you the chance to state your last words, but I've changed my mind. Yi and Wu spoke with a mocking tone, but the Titan and Gigantes only heard him say, last words. Open hollow corner bracket. Why your majesty, our king. Please don't be like that and listen to what we have to say. Do you know what my problems with the three main gods of Olympus are? They've always been too lenient with you. Sparks must be snuffed out before they turn into a blaze. In an instant, a black shadow spread across the ground, and chains shot up from the shadows and wrapped around the Titan and Gigantes, necks and limbs. Clank. Open hollow corner bracket. No. Open hollow corner bracket. Help. Save us. As immortals, the Titans and Gigantes were horrified by the punishment of death. A few even got up and tried to run away, but the East Demon Army and Chan sect didn't even have to act since the chains began to move faster and devoured their targets. The chains flung the Titans and Gigantes into the shadow at random. The bones of the Titans and Gigantes splintered as their bodies folded at bizarre angles. Severed limbs bounced up briefly before the shadow sucked them in, their screams echoing throughout Tartarus. Crack, crack, crunch. Your power, Shadow Domain, has been given the effect of Hades, spirit-eating sword. The Sin Stone, Superbiagula Luxuria, reacts strongly. A large-scale devouring is taking place. Open hollow corner bracket. It's a sad sight to see. Since he knew all of them, Kronos found their deaths a little difficult to watch. Even so, he did not try to stop Yi and Wu. He'd sat on the throne for a long time and knew that even though it was necessary to be generous to one's subjects, in cases like this, it was more effective to be strict. Open hollow corner bracket. We said we'd appoint you as king. Selene, who had toiled as a go-between for Typhon and Gigantes, crawled out of the shadow to grab Yi and Wu's ankle. However, there was no power in her grip. Half of her spirit body had already been torn off and devoured. Yi and Wu looked down at her and smiled. Don't worry, I still have a little bit of conscience left. Open hollow corner bracket. You have what? How can you say that with such a straight face? Kronos looked at his son with an exasperated expression. I accept your heartfelt wish to appoint me as king. Open hollow corner bracket. Oh ho. Ha ha ha, such a big heart and beautiful conscience you have, son. As Kronos laughed behind him, Yi and Wu kicked Selene's dying torso back into the swamp of shadows. All of the energy of the devoured souls has been given to your followers. SS's. Yi and Wu distributed all the devoured powers evenly among the ghost giant, the two dragons, and Dis Pluto. Yi and Wu had already reached his limits, and he had no further need of the devoured powers. It was more beneficial to make his followers stronger so they could support him. After he completely devoured everyone, a deep silence descended on Tartarus as if nothing had ever happened. Open hollow corner bracket. Poohahaha. It's certain, that guy's closer to a demon than a god. Unlike Erlang Shen and Prince Nezha, who could not hide their shock as they watched the devouring process, Agaras had a large smile on his face. The demonic society less than l'infernal greater than sends Agaras a message that they should not acknowledge each other from now on. The demonic society less than Niflheim greater than states that there is a sky above the sky. The demonic society less than Jia sect greater than pretends not to see Agaras. Let's start. When they heard Yi and Wu's order, the three Cyclops brothers nodded gravely. Their faces were filled with nervousness, excitement, and tension. They had been overjoyed to hear that Yi and Wu had recaptured Tartarus. However, once they stepped into the temple of the king of the underworld to look for the stone of Castitas, which they'd buried there, they started feeling nervous. They had all but given up the possibility that they would return to this place, and yet they were here. They had placed the stone of Castitas in a relatively open place. It was near the foot of the temple stairs, close to the second bronze brazier on the left. Everyone who watched the brothers find the stone was all exasperated at the discovery that they had hidden such an important item in such an obvious spot. Although the brothers didn't know how to fully utilize the stone of Castitas, the youngest, Argus, knew how to extract small bits of the fire from the beginning of time from the soul stone. He had used these for the weaponry and armor he had created for Dis Pluto, and this tiny quantity was enough to make Dis Pluto a well-known and formidable troop in the heavenly world. This was why the Cyclops had worried that the Titans or Gigantes would get their hands on the stone of Castitas. Open corner bracket. Things are hardest to find when they're right under your nose, Argus said in a carefree manner. Soon, all the observers understood why Argus was so confident about the hiding space. Underneath the bronze brazier, Argus had installed a complex contraption with a multitude of combinations and movements that had to be done before it would unlock. Only Argus could open the contraption and access the stone of Castitas. Rumble. The ground split open, and an old chest shot out. They opened it to see the stone of Castitas resting comfortably inside. Once he laid eyes on the soul stone, Erlang Shen's eyes grew wide. He could immediately cure the Jade Emperor's ailment if he got his hands on the stone of Castitas. Wait a little longer. Prince Nezha placed his hand on Erlang Shen's shoulder, speaking in a low voice. It was only then that Erlang Shen had realized that he had been walking towards the soul stone without even thinking. His face grew red from embarrassment. His emotions had gotten the better of him, while the two leaders of the Chan sect were calming their hearts. Open hollow corner bracket. So that's a soul stone, huh? It definitely feels different from the one you possess. Kronos glanced at the stone of Castitas and exclaimed. Though the stone of Castitas looked like a normal piece of rock, Kronos could sense something inside it. Thinking that Kronos could provide information, Yianwu cautiously asked Kronos, how is it different? Open hollow corner bracket. How can I explain this? Your soul stones have an evil, subversive aura like their owner, but that stone of Castitas seems to be purifying itself. Hey, why are you looking at me like that, son? Yianwu looked dumbfoundedly at Vigrid. Yianwu had been suspecting that his father lived to tease him, but Yianwu decided to let it slide. He clucked his tongue and shook his head. Nothing. Forget it. You mentioned something about purification. Open hollow corner bracket. When holy power loses its divinity, it separates into multiple pieces and accentuates one specific aspect. Forget it. Let me put it this way. How did you first feel when you learned how to use your soul stones? It was turbulent. Open hollow corner bracket. Right. It must have felt like a release. The magic power started rushing out with no end in sight, right? Yes. That's why I had to divert the overflowing magic power to the Philosopher's Stone to gain stability. Open hollow corner bracket. Yes, that sounds about right. The soul stones you possess are filled with magic power and are extremely active. They seek to be released, like a crazed dog. However, the stone of Castitas is different. It has a tendency to absorb. Are you saying that it absorbs magic power? Open hollow corner bracket. Something like that. It not only contains magic power, but it also seeks to absorb all the magic power around it. Then, when you mentioned that it purifies. Open hollow corner bracket. Right. Regardless of whether magic power is murky or derived from spiritual energy, the stone of Castitas will absorb it. Thus, it purifies. It absorbs all kinds of magic power and turns it into the purest form of magic power. However, the magic power it creates as a byproduct is so pure that it's probably poisonous for most living beings. Yianwu's eyes grew wide. After he'd made the Philosopher's Stone and spent a lot of time perusing the revelations, he had accumulated a tremendous amount of knowledge about the world. Thus, he knew the property and use of pure energy. To a certain point, the purer the magic power, the more effective it was. However, just like water that was too pure and therefore couldn't sustain life, once a substance became too pure, it became life-threatening rather than beneficial. The stone of Castitas could create the purest form of magic power, a type that only existed during the beginning of the universe. Open hollow corner bracket. The stone of Castitas also purifies the power. So, it imbues purity. Open hollow corner bracket. Yes. Yianwu recalled the first time he encountered the stone of Superbia Pride. Once he got rid of his brother's diary, the soul stone released a tremendous amount of magic power. The suppressive aura of the magic power was just like Superbia's domineering nature. It was the same for the stone of Gyula Gluttony. The original owner of the soul stone, Gyula, the Gluttony Emperor, had been influenced by the stone's greed, and he had desired to consume everything. And finally, the stone of Luxuria, lust perfectly exemplified Viera Dune and Mother Earth. However, all three of these cases fell into the realm of cardinal sins. Since the stone of castitas possessed qualities that made it part of the cardinal virtues, it absorbed rather than released. Open hollow corner bracket. If the cardinal virtue soul stones are brought together to create a virtue stone, much like your sin stone, I'm fairly certain we'll know what effects and properties it'll have. But for you, close hollow corner bracket. You're saying that it's dangerous for me. Open hollow corner bracket. Yes. The two stones, the sin stone and virtue stone, will be diametrically opposed to each other. Curious to see what would happen, Yin Wu reached his hand out to the stone of castitas. Crackle! A large spark popped from the tips of his fingers, stopping him from getting any closer. He also felt the philosopher's stone shake violently, as if warning him that the stone of castitas wasn't good for him. Yin Wu felt that he had to either follow through with assisting the Chan sect and exchange stone of castitas for a cardinal sin soulstone or a different cardinal virtue soulstone. Yin Wu was surprised by his father's ability to see the essence of a soulstone just by looking at it. Of course, Yin Wu did not show this surprise, knowing that he wouldn't hear the end of his father's boasting if he did. Eventually, Yin Wu extended his shadows and placed the stone of castitas inside them before leaving. Yin Wu left Tartarus to the Chan sect in Niflheim and headed over to Athena and the others' location. Yin Wu had heard that the door to Erebus had just been opened. Oh, who's this? It's my apostle. I was waiting for you. Hey, who are you calling your apostle? He's my comrade in arms. This guy is still spewing the same nonsense. Hey, I already called dibs. What nonsense. Humans aren't items you can call dibs on. As always, Ares and Hercules argued with each other, exasperating Yin Wu. Anyway, something feels different about him today. He's like a shiny object I want to obtain. No, he's shining and sparkling today. They stared at Yin Wu as he passed them without a word. They could sense something foreign about Yin Wu, a suppressive suffocating aura that also weirdly drew them to him at the same time. Their huge hunger for Yin Wu grew even worse. Damn this stone of luxuria lust. Yin Wu realized what was going on and frowned. He had also noticed that the other gods and demons were acting slightly differently around him, but these two had the most dramatic reactions. Open hollow corner bracket. Their love and desire for you seems to go beyond what is normal between a nephew and an uncle. You're so popular. However, as a suggestion, I feel you should set things straight. I know, father, you don't have to nag me about it. Open hollow corner bracket. All right. Ha ha ha. Yin Wu let out a sigh as he responded to his father's backseat coaching. Right now, he had to focus on saving Hermes and Poseidon and bringing them back. It didn't matter what their relationship had been before. Now that he knew what his ties to them were, it was necessary to tell them to avoid confusion. He also needed to explain what happened to Kronos. Athena stood in front of an open gate, looking exhausted. She had clearly used a considerable amount of her holy power and fortitude to open the gate. Did you just arrive? Yes, I'm a little late because I had to deal with some loose ends. No worries, we're just thankful that you're here. It's something that we should do. I feel bad for making you do this and becoming a burden to you. Yin Wu was saddened yet appreciative of Athena's attempt to welcome him, despite her exhausted state. Unlike her, the other two who followed Yin Wu looked as though they didn't have a care in the world. Yin Wu was exasperated at the sight. Although they had different mothers, they were from the same seed, so how could they have such different personalities? Actually, objectively speaking, there's no reason for you to go this far to help us. Looking at Athena's thin figure, Yin Wu couldn't help saying, no. The matters of Olympus are related to me. He turned away from Athena's questioning eyes and looked at Ares and Hercules. Before we go to Erebus, I have something to tell you. Oh, you've finally decided to become my apostle. Right now, -- can tread on you whenever he wishes, so stop spewing nonsense. Of course, he's finally chosen to fight alongside this great. I am Kronos' son. Yin Wu said the words without any warning. Hercules, Ares, and Athena all cocked their heads, wondering what Yin Wu meant. So, to put it simply, Yin Wu deliberately avoided Athena's gaze and looked at Hercules and Ares, who both had blank expressions on their faces. I am your uncle. Hey, what nonsense. Hercules frowned, ready to shout at Yin Wu for being so ridiculous. Is. However, Yin Wu released the aura that he had been keeping in check. It was not his magic power, but the aura hidden within Vigrid, Kronos' divine power, which hadn't worked before because the Spring of Death hadn't been activated. Ares and Hercules were astonished by the divine power and took a few steps back without realizing. Athena slowly moved towards Yi and Wu with wide eyes. Open hollow corner bracket ha ha ha. It's nice to see my grandchildren for the first time. As the former king of gods, I should make a dramatic entrance, right? Kronos whispered to Yi and Wu. Rumble. Kronos attempted to manifest. Vigrid fragmented into pieces and formed into a human figure. Soon, a middle-aged man with flowing black hair appeared. In an instant, Ares, Hercules, and Athena's complexions grew stiff. They had never seen Kronos in person, only his corpse lying like a mountain range in a corner of Tartarus. However, they immediately recognized their paternal grandfather. Kronos possessed a unique and familiar aura, and his spirit was similar to their own. Gods could peer through the physical body and view the spirit, and they could even see the true self within one's spirit. Open hollow corner bracket, are you Zeus' children? Kronos' voice resonated within their spirits. The three of them couldn't speak at all. Within Olympus, Kronos was a very divisive character. He had led Olympus during its heyday, but in the end, he fell into madness and collapsed. However, many in Olympus secretly honored him. Athena's generation, who were often dissatisfied with the current state of the heavenly world and had frequent conflicts with the older generation, revered him. For them, Kronos was someone who had only existed in legends. When such an existence appeared in front of their eyes, how could they not be surprised? Moreover, Yi and Wu's declaration that he was the son of Kronos still lingered in their ears. Ares and Hercules' complexions turned blue as they recalled all the past statements they'd made to Yi and Wu. Uncle, unclee. Messages appeared in front of the two. Player ### offers an apostolate to the independent god Ares. Player ### offers an apostolate to the independent god Hercules. In an instant, the complexions of the two gods turned pale. Yi and Wu looked at them with a vicious smile on his face. Apostles were the shadows of gods and the leaders of a god's followers, so gods took special care choosing their apostles. Apostles became a part of a god's legends, and the reputation of an apostle was a factor when it came to attracting a large number of followers. Also, the powers of an apostle affected a god's future strength and level, so although the standards for choosing apostles varied, all gods were very careful about picking apostles. This was the reason why even though there was a multitude of players and rankers in the tower, there were only a few apostles. It was true that gods strongly desired to interfere in the lower world, but it was this very greed that made them so cautious about choosing their apostles. Sometimes it took hundreds or thousands of years for a god to find an apostle, and there were eras without any apostles in existence at all. However, this also meant if a player with extreme potential and talent showed up, countless gods would rush to try to take that player for themselves. This was why many gods and demons had taken an interest in Yi and Wu after he customized the martial arts of the one-horned tribe for himself. A player like Yi and Wu was difficult to find, and they were often prideful and preferred to become transcendents or lords over being apostles. Gods could have as many apostles as they wished, but they usually only accepted one apostle in order to dedicate all their powers to a single person. However, there was nothing stopping them from accepting 2, 3, or even dozens of apostles at the same time. Because gods had to share a significant amount of holy power or give constant blessings for their apostle, most of them preferred not to manage a large number of people. The most would be 3 apostles. Yi and Wu had taken Doyle as his apostle to manage Arthea, and he'd accepted Valdebec as his apostle to take care of the giants. But now, here he was trying to make apostles out of 2 great divine beings. Ares was Zeus' son, and Hercules was a hero with impressive legends as well. It was rare to take such beings as apostles, even within the heavenly world. Binding such great beings would be hard, even for Yi and Wu, but it wasn't impossible. Knowing this, Ares and Hercules didn't shoot the idea down right away. Yi and Wu had swallowed Kronos' giant corpse and defeated the crawling chaos in Mother Earth. Although the level of his soul was mortal, his prowess was greater than that of most conceptual gods. And on top of that, he said he was Kronos' son. That meant his status was possibly greater than theirs and equal to Zeus. Where else could one find a being as mighty as Yi and Wu? If Yi and Wu insisted on it, there was almost no way to refuse. Haha, you uncle, do you have something against me? Ares stumbled over his words and barely managed to speak politely. He had lived recklessly all his life, but he felt that he had no choice but to lower himself at this moment. They could tell from Yi and Wu's smirk that his offer was genuine and not some trick to scare them. Something against you? Yes, we should try to talk it out. Of course, I have something against you. A lot of things, in fact. He. Then how about we start a deep conversation between a cute nephew and a manly uncle? That's what we're doing now. Why, you don't like it? Yi and Wu's grin deepened. Ares became tongue-tied. He froze, trying to search for the right words to say. Whoosh. As Yi and Wu focused on Ares, Hercules suddenly began to run away, each step propelling him forward vast distances. Hey, you bastard. Shit. Ares decided not to think about the consequences and ran in the opposite direction, thinking this was a good idea since Yi and Wu wouldn't be able to chase after both of them. However, Yi and Wu just chuckled. PFF'd. Open hollow corner bracket poor things. They're only digging a deeper hole for themselves. Kronos shook his head in pity for his grandchildren. Ultimately, Ares and Hercules ended up kneeling on the ground with their arms raised, displaying matching black eyes. Raise your arms properly. When their arms started to lower, Yi and Wu noticed so quickly that they couldn't give their arms a break. You have appointed Ares as your third apostle. You have appointed Hercules as your fourth apostle. All achievements of the two apostles will be bound to their god, player ###. Ares and Hercules looked downcast. They had been trying to take Yi and Wu as their own apostle or subordinate, but their plans had backfired on them. However, attacking Yi and Wu was not an option. Athena smiled wryly as she watched. She had been thinking the two had behaved too thoughtlessly, and she knew they would end up paying for it, but not like this. The famed troublemakers within the heavenly world were meek in front of Yi and Wu. Only Yi and Wu could force an apostolate on these two and ignore their pride. Anyway, Athena smiled sadly as she turned to Yi and Wu, who was carefully supervising the two. An uncle. It was unimaginable. From the start, Athena hadn't been able to turn away from the twin brothers, and she hadn't known why she felt pulled towards them. When Cha Jung-woo had first entered the tower and struggled, it was a complete coincidence that she found him. She'd sensed Alpharon ignoring the constraints of the systema and attempting to descend to the tutorial, and she discovered Cha Jung-woo there. Alpharon acted because of Kronos, grandfather. At first, she'd watched Cha Jung-woo because it was entertaining. She only wanted to cheer him on. Unlike the other novices of the tower who had basic abilities, Cha Jung-woo was completely ignorant in magic. Even so, he pushed himself through the hurdles, determined to obtain the medicine that would heal his mother. He was pitiful, and she wanted to help him. Perhaps that was why she became so involved with the brothers. When Cha Jung-woo and his comrades were brought down by various lords and Yi and Wu entered the tower, she couldn't help feeling concerned about him. Although he had the same face and voice as Cha Jung-woo, he displayed an entirely different personality as he climbed the tower and defeated his enemies. Her heart had felt heavy as she looked on. In a way, she had been with the brothers from the beginning. It might have been the pull of blood that made her notice them out of all the other players. Still, a thought occurred to her, but she smiled bittersweetly with a shake of her head. Yi and Wu had gone from a ward she needed to protect to someone who would protect her. Then acting a bit childishly in front of her youngest uncle, probably all right. It wasn't easy for her since she'd taken on the role of a mature older daughter her entire life. Athena smiled at Yi and Wu. It was hard to tell what she was thinking. If you obey, I'll cancel the apostolates. After a short period, Yi and Wu released Ares and Hercules from their punishment. Before crossing through the gate, he dangled this carrot in front of their eyes, and the despondent duo turned around sharply to look at him. You, me, too, only if you obey me. If you cause trouble like you've done so far, I won't show any mercy. Yi and Wu cut off his nephews and emphasized his words. However, that was enough for Ares and Hercules. Their dull eyes were sparkling brightly once more. Ahahaha, just leave it to Ares, uncle. This is my specialty. You know who I am. Hercules is the one who killed a Nemean lion with a single hand. Leave the heavy work to me. Ares and Hercules pounded their chests confidently. As he stepped through the gate into Erebus, Yi and Wu thought to himself that it wasn't easy for great divine beings to be so half-witted. Then let's go. This is the hidden stage, Erebus. Warning, you have left the laws of Idea. The will of transcendent beings will not have much effect. If you stay too long, your soul will be damaged. It is advised that you leave quickly. It's too dim. Erebus was a lot different from what Yi and Wu expected. He thought it'd be entirely dark, like the path to the abyss. There was a sky and ground like Tartarus, although the ground was swampy, and he would sink into the muck up to his ankles if he didn't move. Most importantly, this place seemed somewhat familiar. This is open hollow corner bracket the swamp of darkness. Kronos muttered in his sword form. Open hollow corner bracket, it's similar to the swamp of darkness. Yi and Wu had seen it in Kronos legends, and it looked like the place where Kronos had been taken over by the demonism. Was Erebus always like this? Open hollow corner bracket no. Erebus is one of the territories of Olympus, just like Tartarus. I remember what it used to be like. A place darker than the underworld where it was hard to tell between the living and the dead. Many divine beings, including myself, disliked coming here. But it wasn't like this. Kronos' voice was heavy. Open hollow corner bracket did it change when the tower swallowed Olympus? How strange. The environment could have changed over time. Open hollow corner bracket that's possible. But since I'm being restrained and my holy power is being taken this is a bit annoying. Athena and Ares didn't look too good either, as if something was binding them. Erebus' environment was straining their souls. A stage that refuses holy power. Can a place like this exist? Of course, there were all kinds of strange things in the tower. After all, it made sense that something like this would exist. This feels like shit. I see why you two were so unwilling to enter Erebus. Like Yi and Wu, it was Hercules' first time in Erebus, and he didn't look too good either. However, since he wasn't entirely a divine being yet like Athena and Ares, he was feeling less pressure. First we'll take the lead since we have to guide you. Ares' playful demeanor in Tartarus was gone as he began to walk forward with a stiff face. They were now returning to rescue their relatives, and it was a solemn moment. Slosh, slosh, they slowly plodded forward. Open hollow corner bracket the more I look at it, the more this place reminds me of the Swamp of Darkness. Erebus was just like the Swamp of Darkness. Not only did it emit an acrid stench that stripped gods of their divinity, a fog that rose up from the ground threatened to swallow your soul if you weren't paying attention. It wasn't the best feeling to walk on the marshy ground that tried to suck one in, as well. You had to move without rest, otherwise, you would sink into the muck if you stopped even for a little while. While divine beings didn't have to worry about this, their divine abilities didn't work too well in Erebus, and it took a while for their holy power to recover. Most of the beings who escaped to this place grew tired quickly. The more time passed, the weaker Erebus made those inside it. They say Erebus is the grave of gods, it really is. It was already difficult for Yi and Wu, who was still immortal, so he couldn't imagine how tiring it was for the divine beings. The stronger you were, the greater a toll Erebus took on you. Plod, plod. Athena and Ares looked exhausted the moment they entered Erebus. The confident Hercules also became quiet after some time. Everyone just silently walked forward. Ares and Hercules tried to search for Hermes and the others even though it was impossible to figure out any direction in this place. Fortunately, they had an artifact that Hermes had given them before they left Erebus that helped them find the way. The needle of the compass in Athena's hand began to spin. It meant one of the gods of Olympus was nearby. Athena quickly released her holy power just as laughter from somewhere beyond rang out. It was a woman's high-pitched shriek that seemed almost mad. Ha, ha 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 ha. This is. Athena was about to identify the voice when Kronos suddenly transformed into his human form and shouted in a frantic voice. Click, click, open hollow corner bracket Hestia. Hestia, where are you? Kronos desperately called the name of his eldest daughter. Although he no longer felt the same way, he had once detested Hades, Poseidon, and the others, resenting them for abandoning him. However, there was a child he had never resented and always longed for, his first child. She was the cute and lovely first child that he and Rhea had, the daughter who was always a dependable sister. He missed her so much that he hoped to see her in his dreams, but she never appeared in them. And now, she was nearby. He could feel his heart beating faster and his blood pumping throughout his body even though he no longer had those bodily functions. He felt his breath grow short, and when he finally sensed something, he dashed towards it without any hesitation. Father! He was so quick that Yi and Wu had to use his sky wings to catch up. Athena and the others quickly followed. AACK. However, when they caught up, they saw the anxious Kronos being flung around by something. Open hollow corner bracket Hestia, it's me. Kronos. Your father is here. Go away. I said, go away. Open hollow corner bracket can you not see me? Your father. A massive monster that spewed hot flames was there. Aunt Hestia, but her transition was slow. How could she have changed so much? Impossible. When Ares and Athena saw their worst fears come true, they grew pale. Transition was a phenomenon also called spirit change, and it was the first strange occurrence that the great gods of Olympus had experienced after fleeing to Erebus. The atmosphere of Erebus slowly drained the gods of their holy power and damaged their divinity. Usually, that didn't harm most great divine beings, and it could be solved once they left Erebus. However, the great divine beings fell into despair when their holiness grew tainted and their spirits began to change. Their souls slowly mutated, and they were at risk of becoming damaged monsters. But that wouldn't be the end of it. They would soon succumb to disease or their legends would fade away as though they'd been hit with Gaia's curse. These were all fatal. Yianwu wasn't too surprised since he'd expected that this would happen after hearing of the risks, but it was different to see Hestia's mutated form. Am I too late? He understood why the great divine beings considered giving up their divinity after seeing the strange phenomena. It would be less dangerous if they didn't have their transcendence. Hermes was most likely going through something similar. Open hollow corner bracket Hestia. It was a huge concern that Hestia, whose mutation had been relatively slow, was in such a terrible condition. Her appearance as a divine being had disappeared. If her divine powers didn't occasionally pop out, it would have been impossible to recognize her. Kronos anxiously tried to approach her, wanting to help, but Hestia just opened her mouth with an annoyed expression, thinking he was trying to aggravate her. Rumble, boom, an intense fire that felt hotter than Yianwu's purgatory furnace poured to the ground. Boom. Of course, it couldn't hurt Kronos, and he only looked at her in pity as he stretched his hand out to create a multi-layered barrier that blocked the flames. Athena. Yes, sir. Athena turned to look at Yianwu, using formal speech that she wasn't accustomed to yet. She also didn't know what to do about Hestia. Is there a way to heal or stop the transition process? Not yet. Hermes fell ill when he tried to find a solution. Then there's no other method than to incapacitate her right now. Yianwu clucked his tongue and activated his powers. Sixth step dragon body awakening. Releasing all powers. Sky wings. He transformed into a dragon and flew to Hestia. Ah! Athena tried to stop him, but it was too late. Ares and Hercules, who were unable to bring themselves to attack, looked up at Yianwu with surprised eyes. Yianwu plunged down from the sky so that Kronos wouldn't be able to stop him. Hestia discovered him and looked up, spewing a hot breath of fire, but it only left Yianwu covered in soot without harming him. As she focused on attacking him, emptiness opened around her and chains flew out, binding her arms and legs. Crash! Hestia was stuck in the chains before she could resist. Her right arm exploded, and scraps of flesh flew into the air. Open hollow corner bracket U. Kronos shouted furiously, but Yianwu remained calm. Father, this isn't the time to be blinded by love. Unlike Kronos, Yianwu didn't have any affection for Hestia. He wasn't like the affectionate Jungwoo, and he found it difficult to relate to strangers or put himself in their shoes. In addition, Hestia was part of the group that had tried to kill him. Poseidon had probably forced her into doing it, but that didn't mean Yianwu was ready to forgive her. She had tried to destroy him and probably thought of it as little more than getting rid of a noisy bug. Yianwu didn't plan on listening to whatever Kronos said. However, if he eliminated Hestia in cold blood, Kronos would be upset. Moreover, Yianwu was in Erebus in the role of Olympus' savior, and he had no plans to hurt Hestia any more than what was necessary. But it's not easy to keep her in check. Hestia thrashed, and the chains clattered on the ground. Was there no way to stop the transition? Open corner bracket I apologize, I do not know. Boo immediately responded in the negative when Yianwu asked. Yianwu thought it might have been related to chaos or disorder, but it wasn't the case. He also asked Rebecca, who was the apostle of Cernunnos, a god skilled in various fields. Cernunnos looks at you wordlessly. But like always, Cernunnos just observed him without putting forth an opinion. It would be helpful if Brahm were here. However, his connection with Brahm had been weak for some time. He didn't know what Brahm was doing, but it wouldn't be easy to reach him from here. It's probably best to remove her from Erebus' atmosphere first. Without a solution, he decided to place Hestia deep inside his shadow. A method to easily stop the transition suddenly flashed through his mind. But then, things will deteriorate. Yianwu pretended not to see Kronos, who was glaring at him as if he knew what Yianwu was thinking. It would be easy to take over Olympus if she were my familiar, though. Yianwu shook his head. The residence of Olympus' great divine beings wasn't too far from where they discovered Hestia. It was a temple that looked like the ones in Tartarus. However, seeing the ruined state of the buildings, it was clear how the gods here were faring. Athena, Ares, you're really back, and Hercules too. Just then, Apollo the sun god, who was protecting the temple, rushed over with wide eyes. The blazing red hair Yianwu had seen before leaving Tartarus was dirty, and Apollo's shining eyes were filled with exhaustion. Still, he seemed glad that his siblings had returned. Since you've returned, does that mean? Yeah, it's all over, Apollo. All we have to do is return to Olympus. Ah, finally, those cursed things. Apollo smiled, looking moved. The end to what had seemed like infinite darkness had come. What happened? Did you defeat them? Apollo had a few other divine domains aside from the sun: art, music, poetry, and prophecy. He couldn't see specific timelines and events like the three Norns of the 16th floor, but he could gain a general sense of things. Olympus relied on Apollo's prophecies, but they hadn't been able to see the rebellion of the Titans and Gigantes or their defeat. It was hard to tell whether the eyes of prophecy had closed or if there was some supernatural interference. Apollo was surprised that he hadn't predicted any of this happening. It's all thanks to Uncle .. When Athena turned to Yi and Wu as she spoke, Apollo's eyes widened. The mortal he'd saved in the past looked entirely different. It was true he was somewhat interested in Yi and Wu since Hermes and Athena had been so taken by him, but he didn't know Yi and Wu would grow so much. There were many things he wanted to ask, but one thing that stood out glaringly. Uncle, what are you? I'll explain later. Where's Hermes? He's inside, but he needs to be stabilized, so it's best no one hey. Apollo shook his head, but Yi and Wu immediately began walking towards Hermes' aura. Frowning, Apollo tried to stop Yi and Wu. How dare he cut a god off? Even though Athena said the defeat of the Titans and Gigantes were thanks to Yi and Wu, Apollo assumed Yi and Wu had only made a small contribution. In his mind, it was impossible for mortals to assist and support transcendence. You arrogant fool. However, Yi and Wu ignored him and walked toward Hermes' room. Apollo shouted and activated his holy power with a raise of his hand, but Hercules and Ares suddenly got in between him and Yi and Wu. If you know what's best for you, you'll put that hand down, Apollo. You don't want to die, do you? I know you're worried about Hermes, but I won't allow you to put .. in danger. Powerful auras spun around them as they blew away Apollo's aura. When the two gods of war who were known for their violence and intensity took Yi and Wu's side, Apollo froze. He turned to Athena inquiringly, but she was also shaking her head stiffly. I can't allow you to continue that. Stop it now. Even you. Apollo was confused. Athena, Ares, and Hercules were taking a human side. The gods who were considered the next supreme gods of Olympus. What had happened in Tartarus? As the standoff took place, someone walked out after hearing the commotion. What is the meaning of this ruckus? It was a man with messy blue hair, holding a trident. Poseidon. Open hollow corner bracket Poseidon. Kronos quietly muttered inside Vigrid. Understandably, he was feeling a rush of emotions after meeting Hestia and one of his sons after thousands of years. However, he stayed quiet, deciding this wasn't the right time to show himself. Meanwhile, Poseidon glared at his nephews and niece, then frowned even more after seeing Yi and Wu. He'd never been on good terms with Yi and Wu, and his glowering expression was fierce. Hello. Yi and Wu greeted him with a slight bow. How dare a mortal step foot here? Poseidon shouted angrily at Yi and Wu as always. The raging sound emitted holy power that shook the air. However, to Yi and Wu's eyes, Poseidon seemed like a small and shabby old man compared to the vigorous appearance he used to have. Was he always this small? Yi and Wu wasn't simply feeling this way because he was stronger now. Poseidon's divinity had drastically weakened. It was at a level that hardly befitted a great divine being, let alone a supreme divine being. It was so small that it seemed as if he would fall and become immortal soon. Still, his fiery spirit was the same. If anything, it had grown sharper than ever. His glaring eyes weren't too pleasant. For now, I'll consider you Hades, heir, but that won't happen the next time we meet. Poseidon had been powerful and arrogant when he helped Yi and Wu escape from Mother Earth, but now it was difficult to see any of that strength here. Only his pride remained after his soul had weakened. Decline was the word that described the current Poseidon best. Answer me, why are you? Yi and Wu decided it wasn't worth dealing with Poseidon any further. Kronos seemed to want his children to get along, but he didn't have the right to tell them what to do since he wasn't exactly the best father either. Yi and Wu wanted to ignore Poseidon and just move along since he didn't feel any brotherly love for Poseidon, but that seemed to enrage Poseidon further. Poseidon shouted furiously and tried to stop Yi and Wu by grabbing his shoulder. He used so much force that his hand would have crushed Yi and Wu's shoulder if Yi and Wu weren't so strong. But before Yi and Wu could block his hand, Athena suddenly appeared by his side to parry Poseidon's hand. Clang. Please stop, uncle, I apologize, but we aren't trash cans for you to release your emotions. What? Poseidon's hand, which held his trident, trembled. You impudent fools are looking down on me until the end. He acted as if he would stab Athena with the trident, but Athena just looked him steadily in the eye. The two already had shaky relations, and the standoff between them was worse than the one between Hercules and Apollo. It seemed as though Athena and Poseidon would begin fighting at any moment. Wu tried to enter the hallway to find Hermes' room, but thinking he needed to take action against the rude mortal, Apollo pulled out a ray of golden sunlight and shot it at Wu like a spear. I said, "Stop." Ares and Hercules moved right away. Ares deflected the ray with his sword, and Hercules used his bulk to intimidate Apollo. Boom, boom, the temple quaked, but Wu just ignored it and stepped into the hallway. He could feel Hermes' energy coming from the innermost room. Open hollow corner bracket what a shitshow. After a while, Kronos finally spoke up. He was frustrated to see his offspring fighting among themselves when they should have been assisting each other during this dangerous time. He was also heartbroken that this was the fallen Olympus situation. However, Wu didn't respond, and Kronos asked after letting out a sigh. Open hollow corner bracket the child called Hermes must be important to you. He's been as much of a savior to me as Athena has. Open hollow corner bracket your connections to Olympus already run deep. It just happened that way, I guess. Open hollow corner bracket it might be the wheel of fate spinning. Wu abruptly stopped in front of a room. He could feel a familiar energy radiating from within. Without announcing his presence or asking for permission, he stepped inside the room. Hermes was lying peacefully on a bed as if he were in deep sleep. Out of all of us, Hermes used his holy power the most and lost his divinity. Athena had explained on the way to Erebus what caused Hermes to fall to a level lower than those of the other gods. When we escaped Mother Earth and forced Erebus open so we could hide here, he sustained the most injuries. While his immunity was at its lowest, he was exposed to various diseases which has resulted in his current state. Once in a while, he would wake up, but now he's unconscious nearly all the time. We don't know what to do. Whenever he woke up, he was always concerned, but he believed you, our uncle, would return to Tartarus to rescue us someday. He believed in you more than he believed in our father. Wu couldn't forget what Athena had said. Hermes had trusted him more than Zeus, his own father. Why? Wu didn't think they were just words to flatter him. Athena was clearly telling the truth. What had Hermes seen in him? From the first time Wu had met Hermes at Olympus Treasury, he had always felt grateful for Hermes' trust in him. His heart clenched when he saw him lying in bed with such a pale complexion. Father, you said the nature of the virtue stone was to absorb, right? Open hollow corner bracket I did close hollow corner bracket Kronos answered hesitantly, then he grew surprised. Open hollow corner bracket are you going to? Isn't it worth trying? Open hollow corner bracket it might be possible, but I'm not entirely confident. I'd never even heard of the being called Lucille before. Kronos had never heard of Lucille. Wu had believed that Lucille had been notorious in the past if he'd managed to shake up the heavenly world, but it seemed that wasn't the case. Open hollow corner bracket and you're probably better versed in me in this field. I didn't particularly enjoy studying. The reason why I don't like books must be because of you, father. Open hollow corner bracket heroes don't study. Listening to Kronos' shameless answer, Wu pulled the stone of Casitas from his shadow. The stone shook violently. Open hollow corner bracket what an aggressive reaction. Since Wu couldn't touch the stone directly, he used his shadow to move it onto Hermes' chest. He attempted to connect the stone and Hermes' soul using his shadow. His intent was simple. The traits of the virtue stone were to absorb and purify. He could use these attributes to use the stone to absorb the energy of Erebus that was harming Hermes, and if possible, purify it to restore Hermes' divinity. However, it was easier said than done. Dealing with a soul stone was a complex matter, and it would be hard to reach Hermes' soul. Even fallen, a divine soul was still divine. Getting through one's consciousness to reach one's soul was something that even supreme divine beings didn't do since the possibility of becoming lost in someone's world of conscious mind was too dangerous. Trying to connect Hermes' soul to the stone of Casitas was equally dangerous since the stone might not only absorb the energy of Erebus but Hermes' holy power as well. Due to these reasons, Wu's shadow was extremely careful when touching Hermes. He also tried another method to increase the chance of success. Open hollow corner bracket Hermes, if you've been waiting for me all this time close hollow corner bracket Wu whispered in his true voice to reach Hermes' subconscious. Open hollow corner bracket I hope you'll trust me this time too. Whoosh, a black-red light flashed around Wu as his sky wings thrust open. When Yi and Wu returned after finishing the procedure, Poseidon and Apollo were standing far away from Athena and the others. Apollo had already heard about what had happened in Tartarus, and he stared at Yi and Wu with a disbelieving expression. However, he knew he had to trust his siblings, so he tried to shake off his doubt and bowed to Yi and Wu. I apologize for the misunderstanding. And thank you. Apollo's attitude was respectful. Uncle. Yi and Wu didn't respond and looked at Athena and the others. Athena nodded without emotion. I explained everything since it was a truth that would be revealed soon anyway. She had told them Yi and Wu's identity as well, which was probably the reason for Apollo's attitude. Yi and Wu turned to Poseidon, expecting a different response, and as expected, Poseidon was glowering at him. You've come to mock us. He didn't try to attack Yi and Wu like before, but there was a twisted smile on his face. So, you saved Tartarus. And eliminated Mother Earth. And you're Kronos' son. Which means I'm your little brother. Shut up, that bastard was never my father. And a little insect like you isn't my brother. Even though Poseidon knew Kronos was with Yi and Wu, he couldn't stop condemning him. If anything, he spoke more loudly as if he wanted Kronos to hear. Go away, we never asked for your help, and we don't plan on accepting it. No, I will take back Olympus. I won't stop you from taking your inheritance, so be satisfied with Tartarus and leave, you outsider. Of course, there was no way for Poseidon to take Olympus. It wasn't even certain that he would be able to ascend to the heavenly world like this. However, he stubbornly rejected Yi and Wu's help. Apollo looked sympathetically at him, but Poseidon had dug in his heels. Yi and Wu didn't know why Poseidon had grown so debilitated or what kind of internal struggles he was going through. But, you must be mistaken about something. A low voice spoke from behind. Poseidon and the others all turned towards the voice, surprised to see Hermes slowly walking towards them. He still looked pale, but he exuded a fierce aura that made it clear that he'd not only been healed, but his divinity had been restored. No one knew how Yi and Wu had done it, it was certain that Hermes had the same aura that they had. He isn't an outsider, and you longer represent us, uncle. Hermes spoke coldly as if he wouldn't listen to Poseidon any longer. Poseidon's expression turned stiff. You must be mistaken, but I don't have any intention to help you. When Yi and Wu spoke again, Poseidon turned back to him. What? I'm not a pushover. Why should I help? A corner of Yi and Wu's lips rose. I can just take it for myself. Poseidon was about to step up with an angry glare when Yi and Wu shouted. Athena, Hercules, Athena, Hermes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The four gods replied with bows, like subordinates showing respect to their king. I will now take Erebus as my holy territory and Olympus as my territory. The three supreme gods will be removed from their positions, and Zeus will be demoted to a great divine being. The throne that was divided into three after Kronos left will now be reunited as one to be the new throne of the king of gods. They looked surprised to be told to betray their father, Zeus, but they didn't protest and lowered their heads even further. After Zeus had fallen into slumber with the heavenly demon disease, Olympus had walked along the path of destruction. They couldn't afford to allow the situation to go on any longer. Yi and Wu looked down coldly at Poseidon. Poseidon looked up at him with quivering eyes. Suppress those who resist. Take control of his temple immediately.